evening, fans, and welcome to Commodores Baseball. It's the final regular season game of the year tonight here at Ernie Allen Diamond at Guv Fuller Memorial Field as the Dores host Cotuit. Tonight's a very special evening. It's our 2022 Intern Appreciation Night. And Falmouth interns come from all over the country to gain experience in the areas of baseball operations, administration, event management, game day operations, as well as media and broadcasting. Many of these interns go on to future careers with college and professional sports teams, as well as radio, TV, and other organizations who benefit from the experience they gained during their summer with the Commodores. The entire Falmouth franchise, as well as the Cape Cod Baseball League, would like to take this opportunity to thank our 2022 interns for their long hours they've given to make this a successful and fun season for both the teams and the fans. Now let's recognize each of our interns individually. The MLB liaison, Tommy Merlot from Michigan State University. The general manager interns from Bucknell University, Gabe Gross. From Suffolk University, Mike Murray. And they are supervised by Chris Fitzgerald and Steve Brocklebank. Let's hear it for them. Next, the administration and event management interns, Dario D. Albergaria from UMass Amherst. Also from UMass, Colleen Goonan. And they're supervised by Linda Peters. The game day operations lead interns from UMass Amherst, John Coles. Also from UMass Amherst, Maddie Hay. The game day operations interns from the University of Tampa, Luke Catogio. From High Point University, Brian Coleman. From Concordia University, Liam Kenny. From Wheaton College, Ben Sylvia. From Merrimack College, Mary Kate Spendley. And from the University of South Carolina, Max Steppen. And they're supervised by Mark Ordway, Deb Brocklebank, and Joanne Hyde. Let's hear it for them. Next, the broadcasters from Syracuse University, Carter Bainbridge. Also a Syracuse University Orange, Trey Redfield. And California Lutheran University, Logan Soforenko. The web reporter, Tommy Muma from Ithaca College. The video director from UMass Amherst, Sean Oldred. From BC, video graphics, Olivia Charbonneau. The videographers from Sacred Heart University, Brendan Capozzi. From UMass Amherst, Carson Depp. And from Purdue University, Ellie Fideli. The public address announcer and scoreboard operator from Ithaca College, Dan Fox. the social media coordinator from the University of Miami, Charlotte. And they are supervised by Ernie Hyde and Dave Kuna. We would also like to recognize and thank our student athletic trainer, Britton Peters, who attends graduate school at the University of Arkansas. Britton is supervised by Laura Murphy. Let's hear it for our 2022 interns and athletic trainer, everybody. Here are the starting lineups for both teams tonight. For the visiting Cotuit Kettleers, batting first, the first baseman from the University of Miami, C.J. Kafis. Batting second, the shortstop from Stanford, Tommy Troy. Batting third, catching from the University of Mississippi, Calvin Harris. Batting in the cleanup spot from NC State, Carter Trice, the left fielder. Batting fifth, the right fielder from Stanford, Eddie Park. Batting sixth from the College of Charleston, second base, Trotter Harlan. Batting seventh from Vanderbilt, Enrique Bradfield. Batting eighth, the DH from Eastern Illinois, Ryan Ignofo. Batting ninth from Lipscomb, the third baseman, Caleb Ketchup. Starting pitcher for Cotuit this evening from Purdue, Joe Whitman. And for your Falmouth Commodores, here's the starting lineup. Batting first from Duke, Alex Mooney. Batting second from University of Florida, Colby Halter. Batting third from the University of Arkansas Fayetteville, Jace Borfin. In the cleanup spot from the University of Alabama Tuscaloosa, Andrew Pinkney. Batting fifth from the University of South Florida, Drew Brutcher. Batting sixth from Boston College, Patrick Roche. Batting seventh from the University of Oregon, Jacob Walsh. Batting eighth from Notre Dame, Daniel Nerai. And batting ninth from Sam Houston State University, Anthony McKenzie. Starting pitcher tonight for Falmouth from Southern New Hampshire University, Josh Roberge. Throwing out tonight's ceremonial first pitches and representing the Falmouth Commodores interns are Carson Depp from UMass Amherst, Gabe Gross from Bucknell University, Colleen Goonan from UMass Amherst, and Maddie Hay also from UMass Amherst. All right, everybody, let's see some heat. Fans, please rise if you are able. Remove your caps, and please direct your attention to the area in front of the Commodores' first base dugout. Singing the national anthem tonight is Orlando Montalvo. Orlando is a master vocal performance student at Louisiana State University and is a member of the College Light Opera Company. For over 50 years, the College Light Opera Company has provided hundreds of college-age students from around the country a unique educational opportunity to learn from leading professionals and practice their craft in a challenging but supportive environment. These students are members of the vocal company, orchestra, design and production team, music staff, and business staff. The result each summer is 9 fully produced musicals and operettas performed at the Highfield Theater in Falmouth. please catch one of Clock's performances as they finish up their 2022 summer season. Here is Orlando Montalvo with the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Broncos country.
John, I'm not tall enough. No, it's on. It's on.
And you're gonna have it facing the other way.
Base needs to face the other way.
Oh, next to me.
It's definitely not on. You
It's
gotta.
on. It's on.
No,
It's
it-
no. Isn't it good?
Play ball!
It's the regular season finale tonight for the Falmouth Commodores, and they look to finish on a high note going into the postseason. Falmouth takes on Cotuit from Arnie Allen Diamond at Guv Fuller Field. Hello and welcome inside the broadcast booth alongside Carter Bainbridge and our field reporter Logan Soforenko, who will join us momentarily. I'm Trey Redfield. So glad you're with us tonight for the Dores and Ketts. And Carter, tonight's an opportunity for the Commodores to finish the season at 500, go into the postseason with some positivity, and also make waves in a race for first place that features 3 teams going after it in the Western Division.
Yeah, there were periods of time early on in this season where we weren't sure that the Dores were going to make the playoffs, even in the expanded field that's back to normal with the top 4 teams in each division. But Falmouth has secured that number 4 spot. However, coming into the day, the top 3 spots in the Western Division are still undecided. Cotuit, Bourne, and Hyannis could to finish out their seasons in any number of permutations out there. Any team in that 3 still has a chance at first place, so this game pretty important for the Ketts today, Trey. Meanwhile, the Dores, who have already won the regular season series, are trying to finish with the positive momentum and play some spoiler.
This is the 3rd time that Falmouth and Cotuit have played here at the Guv this season, and both matchups have come in shutouts. For more on those shutouts, we send it down to our field reporter, Logan. Logan, take it away.
Thanks, Trey. It's the final game in the 2022 season for the Falmouth Commodores, and it's the 6th matchup between the Cotuit Kettleers. The Commodores have the season series clinched with a record of 3 wins, 1 losses, and a tie. But the Falmouth Commodores and Cotuit Kettleers have had 2 different narratives this season. The first 2 matchups here at Guv Fuller Field both resulted in shutouts. Shutout number 1 came on June 13th, which was the 2nd game in the regular season. The Cotuit Kettleers took that contest by a score of 4-0. Fast forward to July 3rd, the Falmouth Commodores took that matchup by a score of 5-0. It's a little bit of a different result than the Lowell Park games, where the Commodores are 2-0-1 and have 24 runs combined in offense through 3 games. So if anything is like those couple of games, we don't know what to expect tonight. The Cotuit Kettleers have had an incredible amount of roster turnover. They've had 64 different players wear the Cotuit Kettleers uniform, but the Falmouth Commodores have had 63 different players wear the Falmouth Commodore jersey. Guys, back to you.
Well, Logan, thanks so much. And Carter, that's really interesting, knowing we've seen how many different lineups the Kettleers have brought to the table, and it just seems like a new one each and every time. But what's fascinating is, like what Logan mentioned, the Commodores have had as much roster turnover as the Kettleers had this season.
And it just seems like par for the course in a Cape Cod league that every single season seems to have A, more ties than the previous year, and B, more roster turnover. That's just a product of what point in time in the summer that the MLB draft comes along. This year, it was earlier this month, so we saw a lot of teams saying goodbye to some of their better players. The Cotuit came into this year with Cam Collier, for example, Hogan Windish out in Wareham, just a couple guys who come off the top of the head that were drafted this year, some top performers. And as we take a look back to these Kettleers, every time we play them, they seem to have a different roster. They, more than any other team, like Logan said, have gone through that turnover, but credit to Mike Roberge and this team for not only picking the talent, but also figuring out ways to fit them in a lineup that has been one of the league's best this year.
It's funny, I was going through the lineup last night. The 2nd game of the season, that lineup between Cotuit and Falmouth, it's a whole different 9. I mean, the 9 that was there on June 13th is not here anymore. We'll get into the Cotuit lineup here momentarily, but Carter, I mean, you see a new team each and every time, Falmouth taking on Cotuit. What do the Commodores need to do tonight to take on another newly faced Kettleers squad?
Well, they have to get good pitching to start with from Josh Roberge, who is making another start for these Commodores, his 5th of the year. But in his last 3, he's had a particular problem, and that's with the big inning. In his last 3 starts, he's had an inning where an opponent scored 3 runs at a time off of him. So for Roberge today, it's a matter of keeping himself under control, keeping a good rhythm on the mound and not working too quickly, and dealing with a Kettleers lineup that has some pretty strong qualities to it. These guys hit for average, they hit for power, leading the league in doubles, and they've got some big-time base stealers in this lineup as well. You look down at the lower part, Trotter Harlan and Enrique Bradfield Jr. hitting 6th and 7th today, 2 of the premier base stealers in college baseball this spring.
And here's the Cotuit lineup that you will see tonight. It starts with C.J. Kafus, but Carter just goes to the point that I mentioned. A whole different 9 from what we've seen going back to the 2nd game of the year between the Dores and Ketts for Cotuit.
That is exactly right. I mean, going back to Game 2, a lot has changed in this league, but no team's changed more than these Kettleers. Although a name that people around the league are sure to know is Tommy Troy in that 2nd spot. Not only a starter for the All-Star game at Spillane Field just a couple weeks ago, but was a member in the Home Run Derby as well. He's been one of the best hitters on the Cape. third in average entering the night, so he's in that top part of the order. And if there's one guy today the Dores want to keep under control, it is that shortstop for Cotuit.
Troy has had a lot of pop, and we saw it last time the Commodores took on the Kettleers, which was July 17th in a 9-8 win at Lowell Park. That came in just 8 innings. Troy also has 5 home runs on the year. That's a 10-way tie for third place in the Cape League with 5 home runs. So the Commodores coming out onto the field, and it's time to introduce the starting pitcher tonight for Falmouth. And you mentioned a little bit already of Josh Roberge. He's the guy that's going to be taking the ball tonight. How important is it for Josh to not only have a good start, but a shutout as well? We haven't seen one from him this season.
That's right. I mean, Roberge's longest outing so far this year was 5 innings. He did that in his second appearance against Brewster, but even in that start here at the Guv, he labored through a 3-run first inning. So for Roberge to get back to where he started this year on July 6th with 4 innings of 1-run ball, it's about tempo. At times we've seen Roberge start to work quickly, as is his custom, but sometimes it just feels like a little too quickly the pacing goes for him. So on the mound, it's a matter of not only keeping himself under control, but keeping the stuff under control. He's got to work down in the zone and hit his spots today against a Cotuit lineup, as we've said, that tears up the ball pretty well. Third in runs scored in the Cape League entering the day.
Cotuit has 185 runs scored, like you mentioned, going back to your point, scoring 4.4 runs per game. Roberge, you also mentioned that he's got to work in the lower part of the zone. He has 20 strikeouts on the season, walking 7 in 16 innings pitched. Last time he was on the mound was against the Chatham Anglers in a 6-0 loss on July 27th, where he gave up a couple of home runs, 2 from Rock Riggio, another one from Guy Garibay, giving up 3 earned in 4 innings pitched, giving up 5 hits, but striking out 4. But also what you see on your screen, Carter, is not only Roberge starting, but the bullpen warming up as well. This is expected. We may be seeing a Johnny Holstaff type of night where everyone's going to be on deck in potentially for a Falmouth win, trying to get that Falmouth victory going into the postseason.
And you have to remember that the Dores do have a day off tomorrow, so you figure to see a lot of pitchers used tonight in short outings. Manager Jeff Trundy's challenge now, as he heads to the playoffs, is keeping everybody's innings limits under control.
So here we go. We're ready to get into the swing of things here in Guv Fuller Field. And it starts with C.J. Capus, who's riding a 4-game hitting streak for the Kettleers. Comes out of Miami, where he hit .366 on the year for the Hurricanes with 51 RBIs. As we're waiting for Mike Roberts, the manager and third base coach, to go over to his spot over there at third. Also waiting for a first base coach as well. It's actually going to be no one over there for this first pitch. So either way, we're playing ball. Roberge working from the stretch. His first offering is a grounder to the left side, a slow one. Roberge backhands. Jeter throw to first. It's over the head of Walsh. That one skipping into the bullpen. That's still in play technically. And it's going to be an E1 to start things off for Capus. Well, that was fast.
Well, right off the bat by Capus, you knew that that was going to be a difficult play for either Anthony McKenzie at third or Roberge coming off the mound to his right. And once Roberge got to that ball, he may as well have just put that in his pocket, because I think even a good throw might not have beaten Capus to the bag. He does get the credit for the error, though, because the throw was way high. So in any event, Capus gets first base.
First pitch to Tommy Troy is strike 1. So first pitch coming in at 6:01, 79 degrees, and partly cloudy skies. Roberge working quickly, like you mentioned, the tempo. It's now 0-2 quickly on Troy. He's at shortstop tonight for the Kettleers. He's the guy that's hitting .333 on the season. That's third on Cape Cod in batting average. Capus on first after an error made by Roberge. 0-2. Outside. Ball 1. The Commodores looking to finish the year at 500. 20-20-4. Right now, Falmouth is 19-20-4. Roberge tries to go low. Did Troy go around? He did not, says first base umpire Jim Fonseca, excuse me. Ronaldo Cochran is behind the plate for serving as the home plate umpire, and John Shaheen is over at third base. 2-2 misses low, and the count is full. And this is something Troy does really well. He waits for his pitch. When he likes it, he's going to go after it, and he shows that with the amount of power that he has on his bat.
Now, these Ketts ran a lot early in the season.
As Roberge misses outside, ball 4. So quickly there are 2 on and no one gone. Now brings up Calvin Harris as we show you the Falmouth defense, a team that has 61 errors on the season. That's the most on Cape Cod. You look at this graphic right here, Carter, what's something that you have your eye on tonight?
I'm interested to see how Roach does at second base. That being Patrick Roach, the recent addition to this roster, out of Boston College, who played a lot of summer ball this summer for the Winnipesaukee Muskrats over in the New England Collegiate League. He's a recent add to this roster. He's only played a couple games. We saw him at Wareham last night, but he's manning a spot that Colby Halter's played sometimes this year, with McKenzie at third base and Colby playing DH tonight.
So 2 on, no one gone for Cotuit. Just got going here at the Guv. No score in the top of the first. It's a nub shot out to right center field. That gets down over the head of Roach. Going from second to third is Capus. The Kettleers go from station to station. It's a bloop single for Harris, and now the bases are loaded with nobody out, with Carter Trice coming up to the plate. This one could get ugly early with one swing of the bat.
And I was about to say something earlier before a ball was put in play, but just to finish the thought, the Kettleers for a good part of the early season were the team that was in command of the stolen base category. They used to run like the wind, but these days with the guys they've had leave the roster and the ones they've had come in, they're more of a slugging team now that does move base to base. They wait for their pitches, they take walks, and they hit a lot of home runs. Second in the league in that category.
Carter Trice, the one at the plate, who just looked at ball 1. He has 5 of them on the season. Mentioned a few moments ago that there is a giant tie for third place in the home run race with 5. There are 12 players, 12 different guys with 5 bombs on the season. Counts now 1-1 on Trice, who earlier in the season, back in early June, he made the move from Old Dominion to NC State. One misses low. It's now 2-1. But back to that point about Trice. With the Old Dominion Monarchs this season, he had 288 with 17 home runs and 49 RBIs, propelling himself to a second-team All-CUSA nod. 2-1 the count on Trice. Bases loaded, nobody gone, no score in this young top of the first inning. It's now 2-2.
That was a clutch pitch by Roberge, not to run the count full, or run the count to 3-1 rather, with the bases loaded, and a cleanup hitter who does hit for some power at the plate right now in Trice.
The 2-2 in the dirt, blocked by Nerai behind the plate. The count is full again, and this is the last thing you want to do. An RBI base on balls. The Commodores had one of those last night in a 5-2 win over the Gatemen, but you never want it when you're on defense.
Well, definitely not. As a defender, you don't want to just watch your pitcher throw a ball 3 to every batter, but so far Roberge has worked a couple 3-ball counts in this first inning.
What can Roberge offer here? Payoff pitch. Too low, ball 4. An RBI base on balls for Carter Trice, and Cotuit has struck first.
Well, you're tempted to call this a hard luck first inning for Roberge, but he's really generated his own bad luck in this inning. A throwing error and 2 walks. He's just got to get his command under control, if you will, because we've seen this from Roberge before. He starts out throwing a lot of 3-ball counts, throwing a lot of high balls, not being able to get the fastball down. And I'm sure this is exactly what pitching coach Mike Landry's talking things over right now. Just saying, hey, you've got to get the ball down. You've got to attack a little bit more. Cotuit's got some good hitters, but you've eventually got to pitch to somebody.
And you see behind the huddle, that tarp is on the hill of the Falmouth bullpen. So right now it's Roberge's mess, and he's got to clean it up.
No action in that bullpen. As you said, there's probably a lot of active pitchers for the Dores today. You figure everybody on the staff who didn't pitch within the last 2 days or so may get an appearance today. But if Roberge starts struggling, it's not like the Dores have any pressing, urgent need to win this game anyway, with their ticket already punched to the 4th place in the playoffs. So with higher stakes, you'd think that would take on a bit more importance, but with Roberge, you can let him work out of this jam here. Just give him some tips, and sometimes after mound visits, you see guys start firing strikes.
Let's find out what Roberge can do here. His first pitch to Eddie Park. Grounder to the left side. McKenzie can't get it. Mooney backhands it, and he has no play. Coming in to score is Troy. It's an RBI infield single for Park, and Cotuit has extended its lead.
They just keep going one base at a time, and this is what putting the ball in play does for you, even against a guy who is struggling to throw strikes in Roberge. Eddie Park with an RBI on a ground ball that couldn't have broken a pane of glass.
First pitch to Trotter Harlan. Misses outside for ball one. Harlan's at second base tonight for Cotuit. On the year, he's hitting .289, going 13 of 45 on the season. 2-0 now on Harlan. It's a guy that you and I got to see a lot last year in the Coastal Plain League. Harlan had 12 stolen bases for the Wilmington Sharks. He was on a team that led the league in that stolen base category. Chopper to the left side. Mooney collects, fires to second for one. Over to first for two, not in time. Another run comes in. This time it's Calvin Harris.
Well, we talked about not only in the pregame show, but also early on in this game that a key for Roberge was going to avoid these types of blow-up innings. That's now another instance where he's given up a 3-run inning. He's done that in each of his last now 4 starts, including today.
So how did the Commodores contain Enrique Bradfield? That one gets away. Coming in the score on the wild pitch is Trice. And going over to second is Harlan. It's now 4-0 Cotuit.
Well, Roberge has had some tough innings before, but none like this. This is the most runs he's allowed in a start so far this year, up to 4 now here in this top of the first inning. He never given up more than 3 in any one of his starts that went 4, 5, 3, and 4 innings. So this about as rocky a beginning to any start that we've seen any Dores pitcher have this summer.
So Harlan's the only man on. He's on second base. 1-1 now on Bradfield. And this is a guy that we've been waiting to see because he is fun to watch.
We were wondering if we ever would see him.
Yeah, he comes out of Vanderbilt where he had a perfect stolen base attempt record. It's now 2-1. Bradfield ahead. And the reason why we were so excited to see him is because, one, he comes out of Vanderbilt, but he stole 46 bases on 46 attempts this season. 2-1 pitch. Slider misses inside. It's now 3-1. Misses inside, and that's ball 4 to Bradfield. It's now 3 walks from Roberge.
Well, we've been watching Roberge from up here in the press box from our center field camera view, where we get a pretty good idea of how guys' pitches are moving and what their location looks like. And so far, Roberge's stuff is perfectly fine, especially on that breaking ball, but his command so far has been totally off.
Harlan goes down to third, and he's in there safely. The throw was a little high from Nerai. McKenzie captain in front of him, but it's a stolen base for Harlan.
And sometimes when you know a guy is really trying to concentrate on the mound and buckle down and just locate, you can take advantage of that as a base runner, as Harlan just did by stealing third.
Roberge throws over to first, not in time. And now that opens up second base, and it lets Bradfield, who's over at first, take advantage and let him do what he does best, steal bases. Harlan, who's at third, just picked up his second on the year. It's now 1-1 on the guy at the plate. His name is Ryan Ignafo. Comes out of Eastern Illinois, who had a stellar season with the Panthers. Hit .395, along with 14 home runs and 58 RBIs. He led EIU in all 3 of those categories. 1-1. Bradfield goes down to second. There's no throw. So it's 2-1 on Ignafo. one hit can make this a 6-0 ball game. Just a bloop single from Ignafo to DH, knowing the speed that you have on second and third. The 2-1. 2-2 now as that one is fouled back.
And you saw that they didn't even try to throw at Redfield because nobody's been able to do it in over a calendar year. Not just at Vanderbilt, but that makes Redfield now 3 for 3 on the summer with Cotuit. It has been a long time since he's been thrown out trying to steal a base.
Kettleers have been caught stealing 27 times this season. That leads Cape Cod, but as you mentioned, none of them from Redfield. It's another full count, this time to Ignafo. It's the third one that we've seen in just this top half. Both of them have resulted in walks. What can Josh do here? Payoff pitch. Strike 3 on the outer half. Roberge has his first K.
And that's big, but I don't disagree with Ignafo for taking that pitch either because Roberge has walked in this inning 3 batters so far. Trying to wait out a guy for his control, and all of a sudden he attacks the zone, and it pays off for Roberge. But Caleb Corbett is warming up in that Falmouth bullpen, and depending on what Ketchup does here, this could very well be a 1-inning outing for Roberge if Cotuit ends up batting around here in this opening inning.
Ketchup has just 4 hits on the season. He's 4 of 26 in 9 games played. He has 1 RBI on the year for Cotuit, but has an opportunity to grab a couple more with just 1 swing of the bat. He starts behind 0-1.
You saw that breaking ball first pitch to Ketchup, and it has good movement. Problem for Roberge is he hasn't been able to get it close enough to the zone to get these hitters to chase. They see his lack of command, and they're just waiting.
0-2 now.
Well, if he throws that pitch, nobody's going to hit it. He's given it to Ketchup twice. And Ketchup hasn't swung the bat either time on 2 called strikes.
Let's find out if he swings the bat here on the 0-2 pitch. He doesn't. It makes the right move. 1-2.
Same pitch, same idea, but just a little bit too far off. I think if Roberge is going to regroup here and get out of this inning with this damage limited to 4 runs, he's going to try that pitch again because it's been the best thing he's got going so far.
He goes after it. Put in play. McKenzie at third base. Collects, fires, and that's the end of the top of the first. The Commodores with work to do early, trailing 4-0. Bottom half when we come back.
And can you draw your college logo? Nice.
There we go.
I can
That's
see
actually
it.
good. That's
I can
actually
see
really
it.
good.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
I don't know how flames go.
But I can try to give you a frog. Looks more like a pig than a frog. That's no frog. That's
wrong.
bad. That's more like a. That's bad. I know it's got like a weird.
Wow, okay, yeah, no. I can't draw the basic one, you know. Okay, do not judge me, please. Very stressed. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
We gotta erase puddles right there.
There's puddle.
That looks like a turkey.
That's actually really good. That's really good.
The Commodores with work to do early, trailing 4-0 to the Kettleers going into the bottom of the first inning. And Carter, it's Joe Whitman getting the start out of Purdue, his second on the year.
Yeah, we don't have much of a book on this left-hander out of Purdue, 6'4", 195-pounder, originally from Hudson, Ohio, who's making his second start of the summer, as you said. Only 1 appearance so far. It was exactly a week ago today. In a loss to the Chatham Anglers, Whitman pitched 2 innings, gave up 2 runs, 1 of them earned. 1 hit, 2 walks, and 1 strikeouts in 11 batters faced. So very limited sample size for this left-hander, but he's got that Big Ten experience under his belt. Pitched in 8 games for the Boilermakers this spring. None of them starts to a 12.27 ERA.
And this is the lineup that he's going to face. The Commodores hitting .223 on the season. That's tied for 8th in the CCBL with Harwich. As always, it's Alex Mooney leading off, Colby Halter following. But what does the rest of the order need to do tonight, Carter, to not only get back into this game right now, but pull off a victory and finish the year at 500?
Well, for 3, 4, and 5, Borfin, Pinckney, and Brutcher, it's just to continue to do what they've been doing. That has been the high-powered part of the Dores lineup through the month of July. I know we're now in the second day of August, but they had just a scorching month last month.
Mooney's first pitch is a check swing, and he tipped it, actually, so it's 0-1. But you were saying?
Well, the rest of the order just has to deal with another left-handed pitcher because the Dores so far this summer have not hit very well against left-handers.
Mooney goes after the fastball in the outer half at 90 miles an hour. It's 0-2 on Alex. He's actually tied for the team lead in RBIs with Colby Halter, the man on deck, with 19. Mooney sends this one out to right center field. Diving and making the catch is Eddie Park. What a play by the Stanford Cardinal. One down here in the bottom of the first.
Eddie Park was an all-star at Spillane Field just a little while ago for that very reason. He's a really solid outfield glove, and a sliding play to rob Mooney of a leadoff base hit on that sinking line drive.
And it now brings up the designated hitter, Colby Halter. Has 7 home runs this season. That leads the Cape League. Who knows? Maybe add some insurance tonight to make sure he secures the home run belt. Let's find out what he does here in his first at-bat. Starts behind 0-1. Whitman going to that fastball in a small sample size, but it's working for him so far. I mean, we haven't seen too many pitches, but Mooney has gone after it a couple of times. Going with the off-speed at 80 miles an hour. This one gets down for a base hit. Halter aboard with a single. Increases his batting average a little bit, coming into tonight with a .309 batting average. But let's bring you the Cotuit defense. We mentioned the Commodores having 61 errors. That's the most on Cape Cod. But Carter, right behind them is the Kettleers with 54.
Yeah, but again, because of all the turnover the Ketts have had, this lineup doesn't necessarily tell you the whole story. We've seen some nice plays by Caleb Ketchup over at third base. Tommy Troy's an all-star defender at shortstop, and Trotter Harlan can pick it at second. Bradfield and Park in center and right in the outfield as well. Really good duo out there defensively.
You want to talk about speed? You have it over there in center and right field. Bradfield, and Park, respectively.
Well, Bradfield's got that top-of-the-line 80-grade speed tool under his belt. And Park is errorless in now 24 games and change this summer.
It's Chase Borfin at the plate who looks at strike one. Last night for Borfin, he had a lot of loud outs to center field, 3 of them to be exact. It's one of the most frustrating parts as a hitter. You know, putting it in play and bringing the emphasis with the bat, but just putting it in spots where fielders are. As Halter gets back in safely over at first base. The Kettleers in the top of the first inning brought all 9 of their batters up. The Commodores looking to do the same here as Sportman sends it over to second base, flipping it to second for 1, over to 2. In time, they got him. A 4-6-3 double play it goes. We go to the top of the second inning where Capus will lead off yet again, 4-0 your score. We'll be back soon.
Hey there, Commodore fans. Thanks for joining us and cheering on your Falmouth Commodores. Want to take a break from the action? Come make a visit to the merchandise booth. Check us out behind home plate. We have a bunch of new designs for you to purchase, from hats to shirts, jerseys, crew necks, wine glasses, and even baby bibs. You think of it, we probably have it. From youth sizes to even adult double XLs. We have everything you need for family and friends. Be sure to come say hello and get a piece of Falmouth merch. Make a trip before we close up shop in the 9th inning. See you soon, and roll Dores.
Well, last time we saw that man on the mound in Josh Roberge, he saw all 9 hitters giving up 4 runs. Carter, he's on for his second inning of work. What does he need to do this time around, seeing that same 9 and leading off with the leadoff man in C.J. Capus?
Well, we watched Roberge all throughout the top of the first inning, and it was tough for us to spot from up here what exactly the problem was. I think a good Cotuit lineup just got a jump on Roberge, who's struggling with his command early in this game, but what he has to do now here on the top of the second is just have a short memory, because it's basically like he's starting the game over, starting with C.J. Capus, the first hitter in the Ketts lineup. He can just pretend like he's starting this game from scratch.
Capus looks at strike 1. That's something he did not do in his first at-bat. He went after the first pitch and got himself an infield single.
Now, that's not to minimize either what Roberge had to go through in the first inning, but to continue, you can't dwell on what's happened during the game that has passed already.
So Capus extending his hitting streak to 5 games with that previous at-bat that came in the top of the first inning. Falmouth trailing Cotuit by a score of 4-0. It's now 2-1 on Capus. Miami Hurricane that had 51 RBIs this season, 16 stolen bases in 20 attempts. That's something Mike Roberts certainly likes. It's now 2-2. Capus may have gotten that one off his foot, came off limping a little bit, even with that shin guard that he has on his right ankle.
Yeah, Capus has kind of fleet of foot for a first baseman anyway. He stole 16 bags for Miami this spring as one of their primary first basemen. Played some right as well.
It's now a full count. That's the 4th time we've seen a full count in just 3 outs put out by Roberge.
But Capus is doing what he knows he has to do, because he was a leadoff hitter for the Hurricanes a lot of this spring. He's leading off here for Cotuit and knows that he has to take pitches and just get on base any way he can.
And he does just that right here, looking at ball 4. A leadoff walk on a full count for Capus, and it now brings up Tommy Troy, who walked on this same exact count last time he was up in the previous top half. So Troy still at that .333 batting average. That's 3rd on Cape Cod. He starts behind 0-1. Roberge coming in with an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. It's now 0-2. Troy going after that one, sending it fouling out of play to the right side. Roberge this season was 9-5 on the year in 15 appearances at Southern New Hampshire University. Had a 3.38 ERA with the Penmen, striking out 101 batters. 0-2 pitch, grounder to McKenzie at third base, flips to second for 1, over to first for 2, not in time. Roach collected it cleanly at second, but threw it on a hop over to Jacob Walsh at first base. So Troy getting aboard on the 5-4 fielder's choice, but Falmouth grabs the first out much quicker than it did in the top of the first inning.
And it's a product of Roberge settling down a little bit. He got plenty of work in the first inning, to be sure, and sometimes it's just what it takes for guys to get a little warmer. Around the infield defense, you saw that was going to be a tough double play to turn from McKenzie to Roche to begin with, but you see a little bit of unfamiliarity with Roche playing with Walsh over at first. Couldn't give him a clean throw onto the bag.
So here's Calvin Harris, who is down 0-1. Hitting .283 on the season coming into tonight, and he's 1 for 1 with a single. Fouls that pitch off. It's now 0-2.
0-2. That's your key. Strike 1 and then strike 2 for Roberge. He's getting the baseball down in this inning. His command is a little sharper now in inning number 2. He can do himself a big favor here by getting Calvin Harris out.
Hasn't done it just yet. Ball 1 outside. How big would it be for Roberge's mentality if he grabs a strikeout here?
Definitely big. He only has 1 today.
This one sent out to left field. Borfin moving to his right and makes the catch to retire Harris. 2 gone here in the second. And retiring Harris is a favor for himself because now he has to face Trice
a guy who drew a bases-loaded walk off of him in the first inning and who has 5 home runs so far this summer.
He's tied for second on Cotuit with 14 RBIs alongside C.J. Kafis. So Trice looking for a opportunity to extend the Cotuit lead as it's now 0-1 after Trice fouls that pitch off. It's actually up to 16 RBIs on the season. Or check that, 15. I can't do math, my goodness. But Trice last time up had that RBI base on balls in the first. Doing some sort of a cleanup job. As the runner goes, there's no throw over there down to second base. Roach going to get to the bag in time, and Troy is just a little too quick. He's now up to 4 stolen bases on the season. That kid's a star, I'll tell you what. Tommy Troy, ever since he got to Cotuit, has been magnificent to watch.
Well, he and Tyler Johnson formed quite a 1-2 punch there for a while.
Johnson got released a couple of weeks ago. He was up there with Colby Halter in the home run race with 7. Let's find out what Trice can do here with Troy on second. 1-1. Strike 2.
I like that from Roberge. Has a stolen base against him. Double play wasn't turned to put Troy on to begin with, but he comes right back to Trice, firing strike 2 against a guy he knows has some discipline and some power.
Roberge looking for his second strikeout. And he has it. Roberge goes with the slider at 80 miles an hour and fans Trice. We go to the bottom of the second inning with Pinckney, Brutcher, and Roach due up for the Dores, who trail by 4.
Want to house a Falmouth Commodore? Be sure to sign up to become a host family today. Hosting a Cape League player can be very rewarding. Players connect and bond with the families, often forming lifelong relationships. Please remember that every Commodores player is bound and governed by NCAA rules and regulations. In order to maintain their collegiate athletic ability, host families receive a weekly allowance from the Falmouth Commodores to help cover player expenses. Host families are not required to provide transportation to players. The Falmouth Commodores are very grateful to the wonderful families that host our players each and every year. If you are interested in hosting a Falmouth Commodores player for the summer, contact our housing coordinator, Lisa Smuda, at lisatz143@comcast.net. For more information, visit our website at falmouthcommodores.com. Thank you for supporting our players, and roll Dores.
Commodores trailing 4-0 going into the bottom of the second inning here at the Guv. Pretty stout crowd here at Guv Fuller Field for the regular season finale. The Commodores looking to finish the year at 20-20-4, currently sitting at 19-20-4, locked into that 4 spot going into the postseason that starts on Thursday. But Carter, Joe Whitman and the Kettleers are looking to grab a win tonight and tomorrow to lock up the number 1 seed. And if that happens, these two will face off at Lowell Park for Game 1 on Thursday.
Yeah, the Dores don't have quite as much at stake today as the Kettleers do. That's understating it a little bit because Cotuit's trying to win this division. They still have a realistic chance of doing so, but it depends on what they do both today and tomorrow. So unless I'm mistaken, Trey, the Ketts have to win out to have a chance at that title and have a little bit of help from the Hyannis Harbor Hawks.
You're exactly right. It's really Cotuit that controls its own destiny. We'll get into that in a second. So we wait this first pitch to Andrew Pinckney. High and outside for ball 1. Pinckney stayed in his stance. That was how high and away it was. But Hyannis must beat Bourne tonight and 1 Cotuit loss. But if Cotuit wins out, it's the king of the West. It's now 1-1 on Pinckney, who sends it foul to the right side and out of play.
And you're just glad that whoever was responsible for putting together the whole Cape League schedule made sure to put those division matchups in the final weekday games of the regular season, because it's much more meaningful for these games to be taking place than for Falmouth to be playing, I don't know, Harwich today.
Pinckney is now ahead 2-1. It's fitting, isn't it?
For these two teams to be the final regular season game, I would say that for sure.
And then, obviously, tomorrow with Cotuit and Bourne. I mean, they got lucky that their game got rained out yesterday, so they'll have to do it tomorrow at Lowell Park. Pinckney ahead now 3-1.
Obviously, you can't control the weather, but what that rain did do was just add an extra little layer of drama onto that matchup, because we'll have to wait to see who we play in the playoffs.
Exactly.
We won't know until the games tomorrow conclude.
Broken bat over to first base. Kafis has it and gets the unassisted putout. One away here in the bottom of the second inning. But, you know, we mentioned that Cotuit and Bourne are playing tomorrow, but for the Commodores, it's an off day. How important is that off day, especially if you're going to be playing Cotuit or Bourne?
I think it is really important. Honestly, I don't want to, you know, go too far in my explanation of that, but you know, I'm not a player. I imagine that they're pretty happy to have that day off. They're happy they're not having to make up a rain delay game. And from a competitive standpoint, you'd imagine that it would give you a little bit of an edge over a team that has played a lot of games straight, that had to play on the off day. So for the Dores, they're trying to stay fresh. I imagine it's kind of like waking up and realizing that you don't have to go to school. It's snow on the ground, except we're in the middle of August.
Quickly now, 0-2 on Drew Brutcher, right fielder out of South Florida, who hit .299 this season for the Bulls in Tampa, Florida. Whitman, last time he was on the mound, was in the previous bottom half, but he had a 1-2-3 inning, thanks to a 4-6-3 double play off the bat of Chase Borfin. Another broken bat. This one goes off the top of the screen. Look out. On the field of play, it's Troy getting the pop out. My goodness. Broken bats left and right. That one was scary. That almost went over the screen on the right side. Hopefully everyone's all right, and there are a bunch of kids trying to get the bat, and they finally got it under the screen. But my goodness, I've never seen something like that before.
Sheared him off right near the handle, and you see why they build the netting that high. Otherwise, it would have flown right into the seats off to the right there behind the Falmouth dugout.
It's 1-0 on Patrick Roach. And that's a new name. He comes out of Boston College with the Winnipesaukee Muskrats in the NECBL. He hit 5 home runs this summer. Count's now even at 1. So making the move from New Hampshire to Massachusetts to play more summer ball, and that's where Roach is from. He's from Milton, Massachusetts. Starting in 22 games for Boston College, hitting .259 on the year with the Eagles. Nasty curveball there from Whitman. It's now 1-2.
And we said at the top of the broadcast that we had not seen a lot of Whitman so far this year. Well, no team really has, and the Dores look like a team that hasn't seen a lot of him, but I'm sure they're impressed with what they have looked at out of this left-hander.
Fouled off the plate. We'll do the 1-2 again.
And Whitman's got the fastball, that curveball you just said, and what appears to be a changeup, a little off-speed offering. So far, these Dores have looked a little off balance from this repertoire, from this Boilermaker.
Whitman looking for his second straight 1-2-3 inning. Grounder to the left side, backhanded by Ketchup. The long throw over to first, he got him. A rocket from Caleb Ketchup over there at the hot corner. It is another 1-2-3 inning for Whitman, and we go to the top of the third. Dores trailing the Ketts 4-0.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song. Proud to be an American. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
And what's your favorite breakfast food?
Oh, my favorite on the West Coast. I don't know if it's a thing back east, but Spam.
Wheels or doors?
I think wheels, honestly, because you use wheels like more than I feel like you would use doors, because if you're moving things around, more than likely it's on a wheel.
Welcome back to Guv Fuller Field. The Commodores trailing the Kettleers 4-0 going into the Top of the third inning with Carter Bainbridge and our field reporter Logan Soforenko. I'm Trey Redfield, and Carter, it's a new man on the mound in Caleb Corbett. Josh Roberge's night is done after 2 innings pitched, giving up 3 hits, 4 earned runs, walking 3 and striking out 2. What does Corbett need to do here in this top of the third inning to set the tone against the Ketts?
Well, Corbett in particular just has to keep doing what he's been doing lately. But things haven't always been easy for this Louisville product this summer, but for Corbett, his last 3 outings dating back to July 25th have all been scoreless. First against Hyannis and then back-to-back games against Chatham in that 2 games in 3 days stretch that the Dores had against the A's. Unscored upon in his last 4 2/3 innings with 5 strikeouts. So for Corbett, things have been going better lately. That 10.38 ERA he carries into this game doesn't tell you the whole story. So the job for him now is to mix in the fastball and slider effectively against a Ketts lineup that has really started the day hot.
Cotuit coming into tonight was hitting .256 as a team. That leads Cape Cod in batting average and also on base percentage, .343. That's second in the Cape League. And then slugging, that's the top of the league as well, hitting .379. So the slashes are a really good category for the Kettleers. And someone last time up who grabs an RBI is coming up to the plate right now in Eddie Park. He starts behind 0-1. Paint job there from Corbett on the outer half, but Park 1 for 1 today with an infield RBI single. He's also got it done defensively with a sliding grab in right field, robbing Alex Mooney in the bottom of the first inning. It's now 2-1 on Park.
And for all the names that have come and gone through Cotuit this summer, Eddie Park is a little bit of an unheralded guy. Hitting in the 260s, plays great defense over on the right.
2-2 now on Park, who comes out of Stanford, a team that made it to the College World Series this season, beating UConn in the Stanford Super Regional. Corbett, the Louisville Cardinal, looking for his first K. Doesn't have it just yet. Outside, the count is full.
But on a team with Tommy Troy and that did have Tyler Johnson and that did have Cam Collier at one point, Park is just one of those guys who just puts his head down and goes about his business. He can drive in a run and steal you a base as well.
It's ball 4 delivered to Park. A leadoff walk for Cotuit. So 1 batter faced so far for Corbett, 1 base on balls. Going to get the K. Now brings up Trotter Harlan, who brings incredible speed to the plate. Comes out of the College of Charleston. And last summer with the Wilmington Sharks had 12 stolen bases. This year in the Palmetto State, he had 16 doubles. One 1-0 on Harlan. Park on first, shifting gears left and right. Doesn't go as it's now 1-1 as Harlan sends it out of play.
And you talk about this guy's speed, it's definitely part of his game, but in the preseason, he was originally supposed to go play for Hyannis, of all teams. The Hawks leading the league in stolen bases right now, so you wonder what they'd be doing with this kid as well.
1-2 now on Harlan. Could you imagine if he was over there with the Hyannis Arbor Hawks, a team that has the fastest and second fastest base runner, according to stolen bases, Riku Nishida and Mitch Jebb, respectively? That would be something. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss for strike 3 to throw down the second, gets away from Roach. Going the third is Park, and that's where he's going to stop. So Corbett has his first strikeout. Roach losing his footing over there at second base. The throw was a little offline as well. Park is now 90 feet away from scoring, and it brings up Enrique Bradfield, another speedster in himself.
And good alertness on that play by Park as he slid into second base. He saw that that throw was going to go wide, so as he slid into the bag, his head was turned towards the outfield. He immediately saw the throw sail over, got up right away, and hustled his way onto third. Just an extra base taken on a good heads-up play base running-wise.
So here's Bradfield coming up with the infield in. Scooped by Neerai. It's ball 1. That's outside. But either way, Danny Neerai, the catcher out of Notre Dame, keeping it in front of him. Last thing you want to do is bring in a run off a wild pitch. We saw that last time Bradfield was at the plate. 1-0 from Corbett. Too high, ball 2.
You know, Bradfield's numbers with the Kettleers don't tell you the whole story about this guy. It's not even close. 194 coming into the day with the batting average, 6 for 31 with only a couple stolen bags. But this guy is one of the best players in college baseball.
Choked up on the bat here, sends it out to left field. Borfin going back, giving chase. He makes the grab, and he's going to surrender Park, who comes in the score on the sacrifice fly. So Bradfield gets his job done at the plate, grabbing himself an RBI for Cotuit, who extends its lead to 5.
Well, this play made the sacrifice fly by the heads-up base running from Park first of all, and then Bradfield doing what he's supposed to do, and that's hit a ball into the outfield with a guy at third and 1 out for an easy sacrifice fly.
Now brings up Ryan Ignafo, who looks at strike 1. Last time he came up to the plate, he went down swinging on a 3-2 count. Corbett looking for something similar here. He's in search of his second K, and he almost clips Ignafo on that pitch. It's 1-1.
Yeah, the Dores haven't been great from the mound tonight, but these Kettleers have been very sharp to enter this game. They've done just about everything right so far.
Ignafo goes around, 1-2.
Base running wise, taking pitches, laying off balls on 2-strike counts.
Corbett gets Ignafo that time. A hit by pitch, first time we've seen that tonight. And the Eastern Illinois Panther is on first base, bringing up Caleb Ketchup, who rounded out the top of the first inning. One that was an exciting one for Cotuit Carter. 4 runs put up by the Kettleers in the first top half of the game.
Yeah, the Ketts really teed off on Josh Roberge, who ended up going only 2 innings in this game with 3 hits and 4 earned runs to his credit, along with 4 walks. But again, the Ketts have just been doing what they have to do. They have been hot today at the plate.
Another pitch inside. Ketchup is ahead 1-0.
I'm not sure if Mike Roberts punched this into a computer in a script. He could have gotten this start off to a better place for these Ketts today.
Ketchup coming into today was hitting 154. As Ignafo goes to second, he's in there safely. It's a stolen base for Ryan Ignafo, who grabs his first stolen base on the season.
Well, this Ignafo's debut with the Ketts. He's got a strikeout, a bruise in the back, and now a stolen base. Some fine consolation.
And now one swing of the bat from Ketchup and a ball that gets into the outfield. Cotuit would be ahead 6-0 more likely than not.
And for the Kettleers, who scored 4 runs in their first trip to the Guv and 0 in their second one, 5 already against a pair of Falmouth pitchers is not par for the course for these Ketts. They have really gotten off the launching pad early. And Nearey's just got to talk things over with Corbett. And they have pretty much let the Ketts steal at will as well in this game. We've seen a couple guys take off. Bradfield, Ignafo, and Troy all have steals so far off the arm of Nearey behind the plate.
1-1 to Ketchup. Inside, ball 2. I was talking to Caleb a couple of weeks ago about the reason why he went to Louisville. I mean, he is a Louisville native, and he just wanted to keep the recruiting process simple. He told me that he didn't want to go anywhere else, so he didn't want to waste time at looking at other schools. It was an easy decision when Louisville came calling. He knew he wanted to be a Cardinal through and through, knowing he grew up a U of L fan. So it's 3-1 on Ketchup. Ignafo on second after the stolen base. Corbett deals. Too low. Ball 4. And now brings up C.J. Capus, who's 1 for 1 today with the walk. He's now coming up for the 3rd time in just 3 innings. Not too shabby if you're Capus and the Ketts.
Yeah, this Kettleers offense has been good all season long, no matter how many guys they cycled through this lineup, but this looks to be one of their better days. These hitters are very locked in. Some of these pitches from Roberge and Corbett haven't been bad. The Ketts just haven't bitten at them.
0-1 on Capus. Would you say it's been more of the Cotuit bats or the Falmouth? Is the Cotuit bats, I guess, going at it and being good? Or is it the Falmouth pitching struggling?
I think they're patient Cotuit bats that are also seeing a lot of balls.
0-2 now.
Not a lot of pitches like that. Nice breaking ball from Corbett. But when Roberge and Corbett are falling behind, these Ketts can afford to wait around. They know they're eventually going to get strikes. A lot of them haven't. We've already seen a lot of walks in this game, but when they do, they haven't missed them. You see a lot of hitters pop up pitches that they should hit, but so far the Ketts have been ignoring the law of averages.
We'll do the 0-2 again. Foul to the right side, to the left of the Falmouth dugout over at first base. So we'll do the 0-2 again. Ignapo on second, Ketchup on first. Falmouth in a 5-0 hole. Corbett looking for his second strikeout in just 1 inning of work. 0-2 from Caleb. Too low, ball 1.
Already 6 walks from Falmouth pitching through 2 2/3.
1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Corbett grabs his second K and keeps the limit at 1 run per Cotuit here in the top of the 3rd. Falmouth with more work to do going into the bottom half when we come back.
Now, do your best cartwheel.
I'm not a gymnast. I think I'd pull something if I did a cartwheel.
Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
I'm going to go with fly, honestly. I think flying would be pretty cool. Be able to be up in the air around everybody, fly with some birds. Be pretty cool stuff, Carson.
Okay, Anders, now do your best and favorite dance move.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
Welcome back to Guv Fuller Field. What you're looking at on your screen right now is a potential playoff bracket. The Commodores would take on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Say if Hyannis wins tonight, if Cotuit just loses 1 game, whether that's tonight or against the Bourne Braves tomorrow at Lowell Park. But Carter, if there's a team that you would want to face in the first round of the CCBL playoffs, is this your ideal matchup right here, Falmouth and Hyannis?
Well, all 3 teams still left in the playoff field, not named Falmouth, are pretty tough in their own right. So I don't want to make any bold proclamations against any of these teams. However, I do know that Hyannis has not been playing its best baseball lately. So I would say at this point, that 4-1 matchup for the Commodores doesn't look all that bad. I mean, to be honest, the Dores have been playing the Hawks better in the last couple matchups. You see what Cotuit's doing to Falmouth today. When you catch these Ketts when they're hot, it's a tough out. And the Bourne Braves have some of the best hitters in the Cape League in their lineup, along with some pitchers that have really shut the Dores down. So each of those matchups presents a tough challenge, but maybe nothing quite as tough as the grounds crew trying to get this goose off the field.
Cotuit coming on the field with 10 fielders with that goose out in left center field. First pitch to Jacob Walsh. Strike 1 on the outer half. So Walsh coming up to the plate for the first time tonight. Comes out of Oregon where he hit .295 with the Ducks this season. Joe Whitman on for his 3rd inning of work. Works the count even to 1. Ball 1 delivered on the outer half. But Whitman's looked sharp so far. A couple of 3 up, 3 down innings. Walsh is in the 7th spot, so 2 perfect innings. Somewhat. There was a base hit given up in the first, and speaking of base hits, Walsh gets one right there. Leadoff single for Jacob.
Well, just the second one of the day for the Commodores, and as you were saying, it has been a pretty good start for Joe Whitman. He's looked solid all around. The fastball, the breaking ball, and the changeup have all been working. His command has been pretty good. But unfortunately, Jacob Walsh with a single up the middle, just his 4th hit in 42 at-bats against left-handers this season.
Speaking of left-handed batters, here's another one right here in Danny Neary. So 1-0 is the count on the catcher out of Notre Dame. A team that made it to the College World Series after upsetting top-seeded Tennessee in the Knoxville Super Regional. 2-0 now as Neary lays off on the slider. Whitman, who's only given up 2 hits so far, looking to have another double play be turned by his defense here. That's what happened last time the Commodores had a base hit. It's now 3-0 on Danny. McKenzie, the guy in the 9 spot, is on deck for Falmouth. He'll be in the right-handed batter's box. McKenzie's a switch hitter. Nerai, the left-handed batter at the plate, head 3-0. 3-1 now.
Well, if Nerai can work a walk here, he can get Anthony McKenzie up to the plate with 2 on and nobody out, and we know how well Amac's been swinging the bat as of late.
Pickoff move over to first. Walsh gets in without a tag with a clean jersey as well. And McKenzie had himself a double last night against the Gatemen. A couple of walks as well and a 5-2 Falmouth win over Wareham. It's the final time we had to be on top of the third base dugout calling a game. Count is now full on knee rise. The ball went in and out of the glove of Harris, the catcher.
Well, Nerai in take mode, and I don't disagree. Kind of trying to work some walks here and give the Dores some base runners. One big blast or an extra base hit could tip into this lead.
Nerai swings and misses at that one for strike 3. Props to Whitman for working his way back into it and grabbing a strikeout, his first on the evening. Now brings up Anthony McKenzie with 1 gone.
Unfortunately for Nerai, that's just the way things have been going for him at the plate lately. Now 4 for 25 in his short time with the Dores this summer after coming over from Notre Dame. But the numbers for this guy, much better. Anthony McKenzie over his last 10 games hitting .471.
Pickoff move over to first base once again. Walsh getting in without a tag. We were talking to McKenzie a couple of days ago, a guy who was in the transfer portal. I asked him, is there any moves going on yet with you? And he told me, I'm actually heading to Oklahoma. I said, oh, well, congratulations. Can we talk about it a little bit? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Promote that left and right. So Anthony McKenzie, the newest Oklahoma Sooner on the block, heading to Norman next season.
And McKenzie, a guy who's pretty easy to talk to, at least in our experience, getting to know him this summer. He's been here since day one. He started here opening day against the Harwich Mariners, and he's one of the few Dores players who are still here from that early point in the season.
Walsh on first. Outside, ball 1. Falmouth trailing Cotuit by a score of 5-0. If you're just joining us, the Kettleers scored 4 runs in the top of the first inning, 1 run in the previous top half. It's now 1-2 on McKenzie. So Anthony, before his move to Oklahoma, was at Sam Houston State. He had .242 on the season with 3 home runs and 19 RBIs. Also had 10 stolen bases with the Bearcats this season. 1-2 to Anthony. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts from Whitman. 2 gone here in the third, and it now brings up Alex Mooney, the leadoff guy.
Well, we talk about how well McKenzie's been going with the bat over his last 10 games and change, and we can talk about how well he's hitting against left-handers, but there's nothing he can do with pitches like that. A fastball in the inside corner for strike 2, and then a filthy breaking ball down and in for strike 3. Whitman has really been on tonight so far through 2 2/3.
Mooney, last time he was up, got robbed by Eddie Park, the right fielder. Made a sliding grab in right center. It was a line drive delivered by Alex. Park went over to his right, hustling, sliding, and made the grab about shoulder high. First pitch to Mooney. He went around. Strike 1.
That's been the key pitch for Whitman today. You can have a good fastball and you can have a changeup that you sprinkle in every now and then, but when you're throwing that breaking ball down in the zone and getting check swings like that, it is clear that you are tunneling that pitch very well and making it look like a fastball right out of the hand.
1-1 now as Walsh is hustling for second. The throw from Harris is a bouncer and it gets away. Walsh will stay at second base. Redfield comes in to pick it up at center field. So Walsh taking advantage on the wild pitch, even with that throw from Harris. So now one hit into the outfield from Mooney, and Falmouth will have its first run more likely than not.
The Dores have the right guy up at the plate to do it. At least that's a fact. Mooney so far this season, the Dores' best hitter against left-handed pitching, and he's been in that leadoff spot since basically the first week of the season.
Ever since Game 2 of the season against this same Cotuit squad, Mooney has never looked back. He had second in the season opener. After that, it's been hitting leadoff for this Falmouth squad. Mooney fouls the 1-1 off himself. Falmouth will be heading to the playoffs, but it doesn't know who it's going to be playing. There are a ton of different scenarios that could happen with Hyannis, Cotuit, and Bourne. 10 different outcomes. Cotuit could finish first in 3 of them, but also finish in third in 3 of them. A lot of different things have to happen.
And speaking of
it's going to be interesting.
Speaking of the Bourne Braves, they're up 4-1 right now in the bottom of the second inning over the Hawks out of Doran Park.
Bravos are hot. What, 7-3 in their last 10?
7-2-1.
Oh, that'll play. Mooney goes after the 1-2 up the middle. Picked up by Harlan. Throws the first. He got him. Great play by Trotter Harlan, the second baseman, and it closes out the third inning. 5-0 your score. Falmouth trailing.
What's your hottest take?
Hottest take? Hottest take is that a straw has 2 holes, not 1.
What is your favorite place in Falmouth?
My favorite place in Falmouth right now, I would say, is Shoreway Acres Inn. A bunch of us, the interns, are staying there, and we're having such a great time getting to know each other.
Can you give me your best British accent?
Scott Sterling.
Is cereal a soup?
No, it's cereal. It's its own thing, right? What soup have you had with milk in it?
Into the top of the 4th inning here at Guv Fuller Field. And just a reminder, Commodore fans, be sure to follow us on social media. Like and subscribe us here on our YouTube page at Falmouth Commodores. At Fal Commodores is all you have to put in for Instagram and Twitter. We also have a TikTok as well. Yeah, we're booging at Falmouth Commodores on TikTok, and over on Facebook, just look up Falmouth Commodores, and we will be there. Falmouth trailing Cotuit by a score of 5-0 with Carter Bainbridge. I'm Trey Redfield. Carter, it's another new pitcher for the Dores, and it's Luke Malone, the UTSA Roadrunner.
Yeah, we've seen a lot more of Malone since he came over from the University of Texas San Antonio. This is his 6th appearance, all since July 14th. So far, a 14.26 ERA in 8 innings, 13 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. But the earned runs have been up there for Malone, as you heard from the ERA, a high mark. 14 earned runs so far this season against him. And it's been the hits that have done it, not the walks. So for Malone today, it's just a matter of spotting the pitches and trying to stave off these Kettleer hitters who so far have not missed much of anything at the plate through 3 innings.
Malone at UTSA was mainly a starter. He started in 11 games out of 19 appearances. He was 9-3 on the year with a 2.67 ERA. So coming out of the pen for his 6th appearance here on Cape Cod, something he's been doing all season. His first pitch to Tommy Troy, strike 1. Troy is 0 for 1 today with a fielder's choice. In the top of the first, one that featured all 9 batters coming up, he walked on a 3-2 count. Malone working from the left side of the rubber. From the point of your screen, it's now 1-2 on Troy. Malone only has 3 strikeouts on the season, like you mentioned, Carter. Let's find out if he can get his 4th right here. Nubbed off the bat of Troy. Nerai coming in and makes the grab for the first out. Not too shabby for Malone. They're jamming hitters. That's something he's been doing a lot this season when he's been successful. And great grab from Nerai, too, who quickly saw it and immediately stabbed it.
For Malone, it's just a matter of trusting his stuff and letting it move on its own. He doesn't have to aim his pitches, he just has to trust his muscle memory and throw them. And when he does, he can get in on right-handed hitters like Tommy Troy, who has done a lot of damage this summer against a lot of different pitchers, but that's how you get a guy out.
First pitch to Calvin Harris, put in play. Picking up it at second base is Roach, who throws over to first in time for the second out. Well, that's fast. 5 pitches, 2 outs here in the top of the 4th.
Out number 1 helps you quite a bit as a pitcher, but out number 2 right after that helps you even more, especially against a Cotuit lineup that has just ripped the ball today. For Malone, a chance to get through a rare scoreless inning.
Brings up Carter Trice, who swings and misses at strike 1 and went out of the glove of Nerai. Trice in left field, heading to NC State next season from Old Dominion. Second team All-Conference USA with the Monarchs in Norfolk, Virginia. Grounder over to shortstop. Mooney can't make the play, diving to his left. It gets into left center field for a base hit. Trice aboard with a single, his first base hit on the day. He's now 1 for 2, along with an RBI walk that came in the first.
And I'm debating on whether or not Mooney really had to dive for that ball. I think he did, but might have just done it a little bit too late. I think he might have had to go into that dive earlier to have a chance at that ball, because once he did, it rolled right under his torso underneath him into left center.
First pitch to Eddie Park. A grounder up the middle. Mooney can't get this one either. Having to dive a little bit, went on the knee, but all runners are safe. Trice moving the second, Park over there at first.
Well, 2 tough luck plays for Mooney, but fairly so 2 base hits. Neither one of those are plays that he could be credited with an error on. At that time, just a well-placed grounder by Park. Mooney didn't have him played enough over towards second base with a possible double play on.
Trotter Harlan puts this one in play, and Mooney can't get that either. Borpin picks it up in left field, trying to score is Trice. The throw to the plate, not in time. Trice touching home, standing up and getting around the tag of Nerai. It's now 6-0 Cotuit with 2 gone here in the 4th.
Well, just like that, bang, bang, bang. 1, 2, 3. The Kettleers go with 3 singles, and tough inning defensively for Alex Mooney. They're running him ragged out there at shortstop. But I'm not sure he could have made any 3 of those plays, not without some really gold glove type stuff. 3 tricky ground balls, and the Ketts immediately cashing them in.
First pitch to Enrique Bradfield, strike 1. And all of them just inches away from Mooney's glove. That's got to be frustrating if you're the guy on the mound and Luke Malone, you know. You can only do so much, but they're so close to be a play to be made. In the dirt, Nerai keeps it in front of him. It's 1-1 on Bradfield.
I think you're exactly right on what Malone is thinking, is that he's gotten 4 straight ground balls, the first one for an out, but the last 3 have all been base hits.
And if it's an inch to whatever side Mooney's closest to, he's making that play as well. 1-1. 2-1 now, missing outside.
I think if any of those 3 balls were hit just a foot closer to Mooney from where they actually were, this inning would already be over.
100%. Especially when Trice got on first base. All Mooney would have to do is just flip it with the glove. Malone looks at second. Looks again and fires. Slow bouncer to the right side. Miscommunication at first base. The flip not in time. An infield single for Bradfield. Frustration from Malone, but there's only so much you can do with the guy on first base now in Bradfield who is blazing speed.
Very few hitters in the league can turn that play into a base hit. But Enrique Bradfield is one of the guys who can do it, not just with the speed, but also because he hurries the defense. You saw Malone and Walsh and Roach involved in that play, but nobody could really quite cover the bag in time.
Now the bases are loaded for Ryan Ignafo, who starts ahead 1-0.
These Ketts are just nickel and diming the Dores to death in this inning. 2 infield singles, 4 straight ground ball singles, all with 2 outs.
1-0 from Malone. Fouled back. Count is even. Commodores just can't catch a break tonight. 4 runs put up in the first, 1 in the third, and 1 here in the fourth. And it could be more with just 1 swing of the bat. One. Fouled back again. This one going off the screen in front of us. It's now 1-2. If you're Malone, you're just trying to get this done now. Make that guy at the plate Ignacio chase somehow in some way.
And if you're Malone, don't change anything you're doing. You've gotten a couple ground balls in this inning that on another day would have been outs. Everything's on the ground so far from these Ketts. Just trust your stuff and think down, and maybe they'll roll another one.
He got him on strikes. That's how you get out of a frustrating jam. A tough one for Luke Malone, who gives up a run in the top of the 4th inning. Don't go anywhere, though. Colby Halter leads things off when we come back. Falmouth trailing by 6.
What are you most looking forward to this season?
I'm just looking forward to, I mean, it's obvious, but just the games, seeing some great baseball, some great talent, and working with all these interns and really just learning,
I'm just excited to get to know everyone, do some fun social media stuff, make a lot of TikToks, and watch some baseball.
I'm looking forward to spending time with all of the other great interns, looking forward to watching good baseball, spending time around the field, and being in Falmouth again.
It was just such a great experience last year. I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, it's the best players in the country, and the opportunity to cover them is awesome.
Welcome back to Guv Fuller Field. The last time the Falmouth Commodores were in the playoffs was 2019. They defeated the Bourne Braves in round 1 in 3 games. But in the second round, they were swept by the Cotuit Kettleers. And folks, there are a lot of playoff scenarios still on the table. But one thing is for certain, if the Cotuit Kettleers win today and they defeat the Bourne Braves tomorrow, they will secure the 1 seed. And that means the Falmouth Commodores will travel to Lowell Park on Thursday for game number 1 of the 2022 CCBL playoffs. Guys?
Well, thank you, Logan, and you can be sure that the Dores are already thinking a little bit ahead to what they're about to do in the playoffs in a few days' time with the off day tomorrow, and then the postseason the day after that. It is very possible that we see a rematch between these two teams playing right now in the Western Division playoffs, that being the Falmouth Commodores, who trail the Cotuit Kettleers 6-0 here at Guv Fuller Field in this regular season finale between these two Western Division opponents. Carter Bainbridge, along with Trey Redfield and Logan Soforenko, our field reporter who you just heard from, down on the diamond today as Colby Halter stands in against left-hander Joe Whitman. First pitch strike on the outer half, and Trey, we've seen a lot of this from this Cotuit left-hander.
Yeah, Whitman's been showing it. He's on his 4th inning of work. He's only given up 2 hits. One of them coming from this guy on your screen right now in Colby Halter, but Whitman, in just his second start, he's popping off right now.
0-1 fouled right side and out of play as Halter hustles all the way down to the bag. 0-2 the count. Well, if Whitman can get through this inning and finish off his 4th inning of work, it'll be a longer individual outing than he pitched innings-wise his entire spring at Purdue. Wow. He scattered 3 2/3 innings across 8 appearances with the Boilermakers, so played sparingly with Purdue. And this summer has just 1 2-inning outing so far to his credit, so this already his longest. But he could really put a good stamp on it here if he can just finish off Halter, Borfin, and Pinckney. 2, 3, and 4 in the Falmouth order here in this inning.
And he's already made more starts this Cape League season than he has this year with Purdue and West Lafayette, Indiana.
8 games all in relief for Purdue, but you wouldn't know it by the way he's pitching today. Well adapted to the starter's role. And staring down a pretty good hitter at the plate at Colby Halter, who's 1 for 1 today. League leader in home runs with 7 on the CCBL summer. 0-2 delivery. Struck him out looking. Fastball on the outer half easily dispatches Colby Halter to start things here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
He knew it too. Looked at it, had the bat on his shoulder, and slowly turned around. That's frustrating. You know, you see and you're like, I really could have had that pitch.
And especially from Halter, a guy we've seen get animated on some strike 3 calls, and that not one of them. Jace Borfin looks at strike 1. 0-1 from Whitman here in the bottom of the 4th with the bases empty. It has been all Kettleers so far. Cotuit has scored in 3 of the first 4 innings of this game. 0-1 line to right field. Park has to play it on a bounce. In that setting sun over in right field, it's a 1-out single for Jace Borfin here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Good piece of hitting there from Jace, who now stands over there on first base. But, you know, just send it out to right field. Really not much of a play there for Park. If he tries to go after that ball, and it would be a do or die, it probably would have died on him, would have bounced away. I don't know if Park would have had another lunging catch in him. We saw him when Alex Mooney, but not in that case.
Well, the Ketts have played pretty sharp defense so far today, but no chance for Park on that sinking liner with Andrew Pinckney at the plate. Whitman throws over, but Borfin staying put. So Pinckney still awaits his first pitch from this left-hander, and it's probably got to be a good one because of how well Pinckney's been hitting southpaws this summer. 290 in 18 games with an OPS over 1,000. First pitch down low in the dirt, 1-0. Well, if you don't like baseball numbers, what that tells you is that against lefties, Pinckney's hitting them well. He's getting on base, and when he hits the ball, it's usually going a pretty long way. Some good power as well.
I mean, Pinckney on the 4th of July hit 2 home runs against this Kettleer team at Lowell Park.
1-0 deliveries down low and in. As you see Whitman a little bit distressed on the mound. Perhaps wanting to keep his tempo up or just upset that he missed a spot. In any event, it's 2-0 on the Commodores center fielder and cleanup man. See if Borfin's going here on 2-0 over at first base with 1 out. He doesn't. 2-0 pitch is a strike as Whitman falls down off the front of the mound. It's 2-1. Well, now you do have a runner's count over there with 1 away. And a guy at the plate who makes a lot of contact against left-handers. Borfin's 5 for 6 in steals this summer. But you also figure the Dores might not want to run in need of base runners down by 6. 2-1 in the dirt, 3-1.
It's exactly what you want to do if you're a catcher. Doesn't matter where you block it. Well, actually, it does matter where you block it, but you have to keep it in front of you either way. However you can do it, whether it's picking it with the glove, putting your chest in front of it, if it just stays in front of you the entire time, that tells a base runner, okay, he knows where the ball is, and it all comes down how quickly he gets it. So I'm probably not going to be going here.
Calvin Harris behind the plates had good back-to-back blocks on consecutive pitches. 3-1 on Pinckney. Strike on the outer half. No complaint from Pinckney, but some groans from the Falmouth dugout. It's 3-2.
It's a good frame job by Harris. That was on the outer half. He quickly brought it in. Looking like Buster Posey, doing what he did in the majors and also on Cape Cod with the YD Red Sox.
3-2 on Pinckney with Borfin at first, who doesn't go. Payoff pitch, called strike 3. Supreme location from Joe Whitman on back-to-back pitches. First caught the outer half and then buckled Pinckney with a breaking ball for the second out here in the bottom of the 4th. And it's the 4th punch out on the day for Cotuit's left-handed starter.
Last time this guy came up to the plate, he almost sent a broken bat over the screen on the right side.
Well, the guy at the plate's Drew Brutcher, who ended up popping out in that at-bat to shortstop as Tommy Troy went over to glove it. 2 outs and Borfin at first, but manager Mike Roberts is headed to the mound along with the Cotuit infield. And we usually see some pretty abrupt pitching changes from this Cotuit skipper.
All the time.
He'll do it in the middle of counts. We've seen that a couple times, even in the limited number of games these two teams have played. I'm just trying to get an honest answer from his left-hander, probably asking, can you face Brutcher and get him out?
I think the answer is no. He just pointed towards the bullpen.
Yep.
I mean, and this match is his longest outing with Purdue. 3 2/3 innings pitched. That's what he did in West Lafayette, Whitman. But, I mean, honestly, I would have let him face that last guy because I really think he could have gotten through. You know, taking on Drew Brutcher in a lefty-on-lefty matchup. But sometimes it just comes down to what college coaches are saying, too. Maybe that has a factor in there as well. But now we get to find out who's coming out of the bullpen for Cotuit because it's taken a long time to figure out exactly who it is.
Well, now we've got someone jogging in from the Cotuit pen. So for the first time today, the Dores break into the Kettleers arm barn, if you will, as Joe Whitman departs after 3 2/3 very strong innings. Jay Sporfin still over at first base is his responsibility, but there's a new thrower in for Cotuit to face the Dores' leading hitter in the month of July, Drew Brutcher, and we'll start to build up that matchup when we return. Carter Bainbridge along with Trey Redfield here at the Guv. We'll take a short break and be right back.
Sign up to become a host family today. Hosting a Cape League player can be very rewarding. Players connect and bond with the families, often forming lifelong relationships. Please remember that every Commodores player is bound and governed by NCAA rules and regulations. In order to maintain their collegiate athletic ability, host families receive a weekly allowance from the Falmouth Commodores to help cover player expenses. Host families are not required to provide transportation to players. The Falmouth Commodores are very grateful to the wonderful families that host our players each and every year. If you are interested in hosting a Falmouth Commodores player for the summer, contact our housing coordinator, Lisa Smuda, at lisatz143@comcast.net. For more information, visit our website at falmouthcommodores.com. Thank you for supporting our players, and roll Dores.
Well, we're back here at Guv Fuller Field with the Falmouth Commodores trailing the Cotuit Kettleers by a score of 6-0. But Falmouth has just broken into the Ketts bullpen for the first time today. Joe Whitman, left-handed starter's day is done. 3 2/3 innings, 3 hits, possibly a run to his credit if Borfin at first comes in to score in this inning. No walks and 4 strikeouts. But Trey, it's another southpaw into the game, this time Zach Chappell.
Yeah, Chappell comes out of UCF. That's where he's going to be going this season. He comes from North Florida, so going from Jacksonville to Orlando this season. With the Ospreys this past year, he had a 6.75 ERA, making 6 starts. He did so in 98 1/3 innings pitched with 37 strikeouts and 24 walks. So what this mainly tells you is that Chappell is one of those middle reliever guys. I'm expecting 3 innings from this southpaw. We'll find out what he does tonight. You know, he's making his 8th appearance here on Cape Cod, trying to keep it a 6-0 ball game. Right now, Falmouth is struggling with the bats, and it's got to do something with Drew Brutcher coming up to the plate, but Chappell obviously has other plans.
Well, Chappell enters the day with a 6.30 ERA, and the Dores hoping that that goose, situated in left center field, is some kind of omen, trailing by 6. Trying to wake the bats up. We've seen a lot of rabbits on this field, but never one of those.
He's just hanging out there.
They've tried their best to shoot him. Enrique
I know.
Redfield in center was chasing him down in the inning break, the pitching change, but couldn't get him to budge. So here's Drew Brutcher with Jay Sporfin at first base. First pitch to Drew is on the outer half, strike 1, and it's 0-1.
And that, it makes me think, is that the same goose that we saw against the YD Red Sox?
Well, very well could be.
I would not be surprised.
We'll never know for sure as Brutcher flies this one to left over near towards the line. It's Trice going over to make the catch for out number 3. We head on to the top of the 5th inning as the Dores get a hit, no runs, and strand a man. Ketchup, Kafis, and Troy, 9-1-2 for Cotuit, due up when we return here at the Guv.
For Commodore fans, thanks for joining us and cheering on your Falmouth Commodores. Want to take a break from the action? Come make a visit to the merchandise booth. check us out behind home plate. We have a bunch of new designs for you to purchase, from hats to shirts, jerseys, crew necks, wine glasses, and even baby bibs. You think of it, we probably have it. From youth sizes to even adult double XLs. We have everything you need for family and friends. Be sure to come say hello and get a piece of Falmouth merch. Make a trip before we close up shop in the 9th inning. See you soon, and roll Dores.
Oh, we're back here at Guv Fuller Field, heading on to the top of the 5th inning. Caleb Ketchup, C.J. Kafis, and Tommy Troy, 9-1 and 2, are coming up for Cotuit. As we take a look at the scores currently around the league, as a whole lot of teams are scoreboard watching right now, trying to get into the playoffs. The Chatham Anglers are really playing for their playoff lives against the Harwich Mariners, but not off to a good start, trailing 2-0 at White House Field in the 3rd. The Bourne Braves are up on the Hyannis Harborhawks right now, 4-1 at the top of the 4th at Doran Park. 2-2 tie between Brewster and YD in a battle for first place in the Eastern Division in the top of the 8th at Red Wilson Field. And the Wareham Gatemen up 3-1 on the Orleans Firebirds, top of the 3rd inning at Eldridge Park. So you figure the Chatham Anglers a fan of that Wareham score, but they have some of their work to do in their own game if they want to make it into the playoffs after a long season spent mostly in 5th.
Yeah, it's so fitting because if the Anglers win and the Firebirds lose tonight, then the seeding in the Eastern Division can be determined by one game tomorrow. The Red Sox against the Anglers. And right now, YD and Brewster, they're tied at 2. Whatever happens over there is going to be interesting because if Brewster wins, then it could clinch the Eastern Division after a meltdown by YD, kind of like what the Boston Red Sox did in '78 when they had a 14-game lead.
Ketchup drives the second pitch in this at-bat, to left, and it's out number 1 as it's gloved by Jace Borfin. But as we discuss the playoff seeding and the scores around the league, we've got a debut on the mound for Falmouth. It's right-hander Leo Giannoni, a native of Marietta, Georgia, who just finished up his freshman spring at Columbus State University. Just came over from the Holly Springs Salamanders down in the Coastal Plain League. This Submariner delivers strike 1 to C.J. Kafis.
You know, I like to hear that. Lost a couple of games at Ting Park. Was there a couple of times working for the Morehead City Marlins. Tell you what, he played at a very nice ballpark in Holly Springs.
This one line to right as Brutcher picks it up on a hop. So a one-out hit, and instead it's Ryan Galaney making his first appearance in this game for Kafis. So the debut by Giannoni and the first pinch hitter of the day used for Cotuit. Galaney now stands at first base. First pitch to Tommy Troy, sails inside for ball 1. So Mike Roberts not only going to his bullpen earlier than we expected, but also to his bench today. Giannoni delivers the 0-1, fouled back, and it's 0-2. Well, it's not the first pitcher the Dores have this summer who delivers from such a low arm angle. A.J. Causey is the other recent addition out of Jacksonville State University. 0-1 from Giannoni. Fouled, or grounded to second base, rather. Roche for 1, on to Walsh, not in time for 2. So another slow ground ball. Runner goes as the pitch into Harris is taken for a strike. It's 0-1 with 2 down. Another stolen base. It's 1-1 to Harris, who's 1 for 3 already today. 3 at bats through the first 3 innings, and now getting his 4th today. 1-1 delivery. Swung through and missed. 1-2 the count. So Giannoni, who appeared in 22 games earlier this summer for Holly Springs, had a 2.02 ERA down in CPL play. 35 2/3 innings for this right-hander. 1-2 delivery is a softly hit fly ball to left field. Borfin back a step And that's the third out here in the top of the 5th inning. Well, the Ketts make some noise with a base hit and a stolen base, but they end up leaving a man at second as we head on to the bottom of the 5th. Roach, Walsh, and Neary, 6, 7, and 8 for the Dores, due up in a 6-0 game. The Ketts lead it here at the Guv.
And can you draw your college logo? Nice.
There we go.
I can
That's
see
actually
it.
good. That's
I can
actually
see
really
it.
good.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
I'll let how flames go.
But I can try to give you a frog. Looks more like a pig than a frog. That's no frog. That's
wrong.
bad. That's
oh
more
my
like
God.
that's bad.
I know it's got like a weird.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No. I can't draw the basic one. You know. Okay. Do not judge me, please. Very stressed. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
We gotta erase puddles right there.
There's puddles.
That looks like a turkey.
That's actually really good. That's really good.
We're back here at Guv Fuller Field, heading on to the bottom of the 5th inning between the Falmouth Commodores and Cotuit Kettleers. It's the Ketts who have the upper hand right now. A solid-looking 6-0 lead with Roach, Walsh, and Neary, 6, 7, and 8 for Falmouth, due up in this inning against left-hander Zach Chappell, who's on for inning number 2 of relief. And a quick defensive change for the Ketts before we head onwards. It's Ryan Galaney, who's now in at first base for C.J. Kafis, who's out of this game after an 0-for-2 start with a walk. Galaney pinch hit in the 5th and stays in with Patrick Roach at the plate right now against Chappell. First delivery's up high, and it's 1-0. Roach today so far 0-for-1. Grounded out to third his first time up. Nice play by Ketchup, robbed him of a hit. Down low, 2-0 the count. So Chappell, a Florida native, was a senior this spring at the University of North Florida, but he's headed to UCF next year with an extra year of eligibility. He's going to play for the Knights. 2-0 is grounded to short. Backhand try by Troy. Bobbles picks it up, and the throw sails over into foul ground. Galaney over to retrieve it, but it's out of play. And Roach heads to second base to lead off the bottom of the 5th.
Sometimes when an infielder rushes too quickly, you got to take advantage as a hitter, and that's exactly what the Commodores are doing right here early. Leadoff E6 is Cotuit's first error tonight, coming from Tommy Troy, who made a great play on the ball, but it popped out of his glove and had to quickly get it out. And when you're rushed, it's already a disadvantage for you because you're more likely than not going to find yourself messing up. And Troy did just that, throwing it into the peanut gallery to the right side of the Falmouth dugout. So I like to call the spot where the bullpen pitchers hang out, next to the camera well where Brendan Capozzi is right now.
Jacob Walsh at the plate right now. First pitch to him is nubbed in front of the plate. Chappell quickly snags it, and the throw to first for out number 1. Roach makes his way onto third base, and he stands there with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Peanut gallery, huh?
Peanut gallery. I thought you've heard me say that before.
You have, but I'm curious to know if you've called it that when you're down there.
I do.
You do?
They know that I call it. They know that I call it that, yeah. They like it.
They usually do a lot of talking down there, a lot of comments as the game's going along.
It's so much fun, isn't it?
First pitch to Neary is down low and away. It's 1-0.
I love it.
Well, some of them will make conversation with you when you're down there doing field reporter duties, waiting around for your next time to say something on camera. They'll sometimes give you some pretty good tidbits.
Oh, they will.
Some of their insight. 1-0, low and away from near eye again. It's 2-0. And for Falmouth tonight, you'd imagine that gallery down there is pretty crowded. Seen 4 pitchers so far in this game. 2 of them have gone only 1 inning so far. 2-0 to near eye. Caught the outside corner, 2-1. Well, to both lefties and righties today, that corner has been in play. So far, a hitter hasn't gone out there and poked it the other way, but we have seen some called strikes. 2-1 breaking ball buckled near eye, but a little too far inside. It's 3-1.
Wow. And the way that Chappell just caught that ball, that just shows how frustrated he is. That's one of the best pitches we've seen tonight, and it's called for a ball. I thought he got robbed there. That was filthy.
3-1 to near eye is chopped to the right side. This will score a run as Harlan flips on to first for the second out, but Roche comes in to make it 6-1. Cotuit still leads here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
And that is an unearned run from Chappell, because had that error from Tommy Troy not happened, there's no run that's scored there. It's just an easy flip to first, and the Kettleers throw it around the horn. Maybe. I mean, Cotuit does not throw it around the horn normally, but either way, Falmouth grabs its first run. He'll take that. Now you got to just keep it going. Time's running out. You're into the second half of the game. It's up to McKenzie to start a 2-out rally here.
Anthony McKenzie with 2 outs and the base is empty. Swings at strike 1, 0-1. Well, for McKenzie, who's been swinging the bat well recently, also done pretty well against left-handed pitching, a .333 mark coming into the night against Southpaws. Switch hitter batting right-handed. Swings at the 0-1, grounds it to short. Troy to his left. Inning over. Well, the Dores get a run off a leadoff Cotuit error from Tommy Troy, but it's still 6-1 as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Trice, Park, and Harlan, 4, 5, and 6 for Cotuit, due up when we return.
Hottest take is that a straw has 2 holes, not 1.
What is your favorite place in Falmouth?
My favorite place in Falmouth right now, I would say, is Shoreway Acres Inn. A bunch of us, the interns, are staying there, and we're having such a great time getting to know each other.
Can you give me your best British accent?
Scott Sterling.
Is cereal a soup?
No, it's cereal. It's its own thing, right? What soup have you had with milk in it?
Well, we're back at Guv Fuller Field, heading on to the top of the 6th inning with the Falmouth Commodores trailing the Cotuit Kettleers by a score of 6-1. And Trey, as has been a part of this game so far, seen a lot of pitching changes so far in this one, and now we have another for Falmouth. It's left-hander Garrett Coe, the 5th hurler of the day used for the Dores through 6 innings.
I meant it when I said there was going to be a Johnny Holstaff night for the Commodores, meaning that everyone just has to be involved if you are the Falmouth bullpen. And right now it's Garrett Coe, left-handed pitcher out of Lakeside, Connecticut, who goes to Storrs for school. So, yes, he plays for the Yukon Huskies. He's making his 11th appearance this season. 1-0 on the year with a 4.15 ERA and 17 1/3 innings pitched. He struck out 15, and he's given up 22 hits on the season, which don't let that fool you. Coe is a guy who shows a lot of control. When he's on, he's going to be jamming guys left and right. That's exactly what he did in 2 innings of work on July 29th at the Chatham Anglers in a 1-1 tie. He struck out 1 batter, 6 of them he faced, but he kept it down. You know, he kept his pitches low. He kept pitches inside, outside, nothing over the middle. Jamming guys. That's exactly what Coe needs to do right here against a Cotuit team that is always looking for a base hit. It seems like the Kettleers are just so hard to put away. We've seen slugfests against these two teams, especially at Lowell Park. But the Commodores, it's up to them to turn it into one of those, and it's up to Co to keep it at 6 runs per Cotuit right now.
Well, Co's last appearance was that 2 scoreless inning outing he had against Chatham, as the first pitch to Carter Trice is a swing and a miss for strike 1 to begin the top of the 6th inning. Well, the last time these two teams played at Lowell Park, it ended in a 9-8 final score. The Dores outslugged the Ketts. 0-1 fouled back, and it's 0-2. But so far today, most of the scoring has been one-sided. Kettleers got off to a great start with a 4-run first. Things have slowed down since then, but the Dores only have 3 hits so far offensively. 0-2 to Trice is fouled the other way. It stays 0-2. Co this season with that 4.15 ERA, and as he said, he doesn't walk a lot of hitters. 17 in the 3rd innings, he's walked only 9. 0-2 popped up right side. Brutcher in right, jogging in, and makes the catch for out number 1 here in the top of the 6th inning. So soft contact by Trice, Trey, another guy who, as you said, couldn't get his arms all the way extended.
Right, and sometimes that's what you got to look for. You know, it's not always about the strikeout. It's not always about, you know, bumping up those K numbers. It's about getting guys out. And for Co, that's case in point. You know, his fastball that he just delivered right there at 88 miles an hour. He's hardly going to throw a pitch above 90.
0-1 to Eddie Park is up high. It's 1-1. Co certainly a command pitcher, but you see that big frame on the mound, 6'6". And he's got that wide frame. 1-1. Breaking ball, tap back of the plate, foul, 1-2. But Co's got the Cape League connections. High school ball for Falmouth manager Jeff Trundy, and had a cup of coffee with the Bourne Braves last year. 1-2, missed the inside corner by an inch, 2-2.
It's all about connections, isn't it? That's really what it comes down to. And luckily enough for Co, one came from the gunnery.
Grounded by Park up the middle as Roach goes to his left. Off-balance throw, not in time. A tough play for Patrick Roach at second base as Eddie Park beats out another infield hit in this game. It's his 3rd infield single of the day.
That just tells you how much speed he has and where he's putting it on the field. He's putting it in tough spots where infielders have to make plays and sometimes eat a throw. And it also tells you that Park has some speed to his name, just like this guy in Trotter Harlan.
First offering way high, 1-0 to Harlan. With Park over at first base, who can steal a bag? He's 4 for 5 this summer in steal tries. Make him 5 for 6 with a swipe 1 tonight. Park goes as the pitch fouled away by Harlan, 1-1. Well, sometimes you just get a feeling that a guy's about to go. Even though it's a 5-run ball game, these Kettleers know how quickly things can change. The Dores have put up a lot of runs on them, especially at Lowell Park this season. But Trotter Harlan's been swinging a hot bat as of late. Co's 1-1 delivery. Grounded softly to short. Mooney, tricky hop, has to wait, goes to second for 1. Roach on to first for 2, not in time. Another ground ball, and a nice play by Mooney to not get eaten up by that tricky hop off the infield grass. It's a fielder's choice, 6-4, as Harlan beats out the throw to first base.
That's an experienced shortstop over there in Alex Mooney, and that's a speedy base runner in Trotter Harlan. You got to be smart with Harlan over there at first base. It's up to Co to, make pickoff moves, be in communication with Walsh, with Harlan over there on first as the lead runner.
Well, here's Enrique Bradfield with Harlan at first, and Harlan does get the throw over, not in time. Bradfield today, 1 for 1 with a walk and a sacrifice fly. As another throw goes over, Bradfield has to wait around a little longer. But that's the type of stat line that he had most of the year at Vanderbilt. That's how you end up in 62 games played with a .317 average against SEC competition. First pitch to Bradfield's in for a called strike on the outer half. It's 0-1. Well, Washington Post article called this guy at the plate the most exciting player in college baseball, period, this spring. In a piece written in May, 0-1 as Bradfield shows bunt. It's too low. 1-1 the count.
And a big reason why is because he's making plays like that. He's showing bunt and getting bored with it. You know, you get the term exciting in baseball when you don't do something that not everyone else sees every day. You know, I mean, there's the home runs and stuff like that. That makes a player exciting, but what makes a player intriguing as well is a guy like Bradfield, who went 46 to 46 on the base pass, and his approach as well.
1-1 is outside, 2-1. Well, you can get called the most exciting player in baseball if you not only make the SEC all-defensive team, not just the conference's all-first team, but when you just simply do not get thrown out on the base paths. 2-1's ugly swing and a miss. 2-2 as Bradfield couldn't hold up.
I got a lot of praise for this guy. I mean, he was on the USA national team. Took him a little bit to come over here to Cotuit. Came over after the United States had its tournament over in the Netherlands. And now he's playing extra baseball here in Cotuit, trying to give this team another championship. Cotuit has had 15 in the modern era in the Cape League.
2-2 as Harlan goes, and it's fouled off by the Cotuit dugout. It stays 2-2. Well, teams are going to have to watch out for this guy in the playoffs because just looking at the stolen base numbers, career at Vanderbilt, 93 for 99.
My gosh.
Including his last 51 consecutive. Has not been thrown out on a base path in either college or in the summer league in 432 days. He grounds this one high roll off the mound, but Roach stays with it, and the flip to Mooney covering second in time to end the top of the 6th inning. Well, Roach goes the short way as we head to the bottom of the 6th. It's Mooney, Halter, and Borfin. 1-2-3 for the Dores coming up in a 6-1 game here at the Guv.
Now, do your best cartwheel.
I'm not a gymnast. I think I'd pull something if I did a cartwheel.
Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
I'm going to go with fly, honestly. I think flying would be pretty cool. Be able to be up in the air around everybody, you know, fly with some birds. Be pretty cool stuff, Carson.
Okay, Anders, now do your best and favorite dance move.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
We're back at Guv Fuller Field here in the bottom of the 6th inning with the Cotuit Kettleers on top of the Falmouth Commodores so far, 6-1. We've already seen one submarine pitcher in this game, Trey. That was Leo Giannone for the Falmouth Commodores, but now another one enters. It's Cam Schulke, the third pitcher of the day used for the Ketts.
Yeah, Schulke is heading to Florida Gulf Coast this upcoming season from Northwood Community College. And this year he had 4 starts, went 4-4 in the year with a 4.98 ERA. But Schulke, you said, I mean, comes in with that submarine approach, and he's had a great season with Cotuit. 4-0 on the year, a 0.93 ERA, making his 11th appearance. His first one came on July 13th, and that's just unbelievable to me how he's able to do what he's doing right now, almost day in and day out. You hear 11 appearances in, 3 weeks for a relief pitcher? Your jaw drops because you don't hear that often. It takes a hound to be able to do what he's doing right now. 11 appearances since the 13th day in July. Baffling.
Well, Schulke started his Cotuit career this summer by pitching on 5 consecutive days. Starting July 13th, his last of those 5th was against Falmouth at Lowell Park in that 9-8 game. He had just a third of an inning that day, but now faces Alex Mooney here at the Guv. First pitch swinging, glove by Ketchup. Nice play at third. Look at him stay with it. 5-3 put out and a nice one as you see Mooney clap his hands in frustration. but he knows that was just premium defensive stuff from Ketchup over at third base.
I think that's the quickest Mooney's ever been thrown out this season. It's always a tough out with Alex Mooney running down first base, but Ketchup did that so quickly. I don't even know if Mooney made it halfway down the base path. I mean, you want to talk about using your glove to get into a batting lineup? That's what it is for Caleb Ketchup, a guy who's hitting a little under 150 this season, I believe, but his glove is premier. We saw it at Lowell Park in that 9-8 win for Falmouth in an 8-inning game on a ground out off of Alex Mooney. And once again, Ketchup getting it done over there on the hot corner.
First pitch to Colby Halter attacking, but this time foul left side. It's 0-1. Well, you can imagine Schulke's been getting a lot of ground balls in his first 10 appearances entering tonight with a .93 ERA and 3 saves in 19 1/3 innings. 14 hits, only 7 walks, 18 strikeouts. 0-1 delivery to Halter. Slow breaking ball. Just oozed its way into the zone for a strike. It's 0-2.
68 miles an hour. My goodness. I mean, a submarine pitcher's job is to force ground balls and jam guys, right? But when he's doing a little bit more than that, you mentioned the 18 strikeouts, he's doing the right thing.
0-2 lifted off the fists from Halter to shallow right. Harlan and Park battling for it. And it's Harlan making the catch for out number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th.
And stuff like that. That's just case in point. You're jamming a guy like that, in your words, off the fists, then I think you're doing a pretty darn good job. No matter how many times you're appearing starting on July 13th. And whether it's, from the 13th to the 17th in consecutive appearances, you're going up against the best part of the Falmouth order, and you're making them look bad.
First pitch to Borfin, another nasty strike on the outer half. It's 0-1. Well, he threw that 68-mile-per-hour spinner to Halter. And then forget in on the fist. That pitch was in on the forearms. Just absolutely tied him up as Borfin fouls this one right side. Very nearly a fair ball, but it stays 0-2, and Borfin continues the at-bat.
And with submarine pitchers, you're not often going to see a lot of velocity. If you do, then that man is a freak. I mean, we've seen it a couple of times where submarine pitchers have gone in the low 90s. I forgot who it was in 2013 for UCLA, but he was the guy that did that. With Schulke, he's going mid-80s. That's normal.
0-2, grounded sharply to second. Nice pick by Harlan. And he completes the throw to very quickly end the bottom of the 6th inning. Well, the Dores go down 1-2-3. It's 6-1 Cotuit as we head on to the top of the 7th inning here at the Guv.
Hey there, Commodore fans. Thanks for joining us and cheering on your Falmouth Commodores. Want to take a break from the action? Come make a visit to the merchandise booth. Check us out behind home plate. We have a bunch of new designs for you to purchase, from hats to shirts, jerseys, crew necks, wine glasses, and even baby bibs. You think of it, we probably have it. From youth sizes to even adult double XLs. We have everything you need for family and friends. Be sure to come say hello and get a piece of Falmouth merch. Make a trip before we close up shop in the 9th inning. See you soon, and roll Dores.
We are back for more here at Guv Fuller Field into the top of the 7th inning where the Commodores trail the Kettleers by a score of 6-1. With Carter Bainbridge, I'm Trey Redfield. It's now the 6th pitcher on the mound for Falmouth Carter. His name is Nolan Moore, the Lafayette Leopard, who's now a Northwestern Wildcat.
Yeah, that news from Moore only breaking recently for the former Lafayette Leopard, but this month announced his intention to become a Wildcat. So not really unlike what Moore did this summer. First a Commodore, then a New Britain B, and then made his way over to become a Commodore again after some time down in the Futures League. But Moore so far this summer has been solid for the Dores. Left-hander out of the pen with a 3.52 ERA in his first 4 appearances. This will be his 5th. 7 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts, only 3 walks, and 2 innings of scoreless ball his last time out on July 30th against the YD Red Sox.
I remember seeing Moore after that Hyannis game. It was a 12-5 win over the Harbor Hawks when he had 3 innings pitched, and he was just so happy to be back. You know, he had a big smile on his face, came up to me and said, "Hey, it's good to see you again, man." And it was one of the best interactions that I've had with a player all season. So leading off for the Kettleers is not Ryan Ignafa, the designated hitter. It's actually Sam Ruda. It's a left-handed hitter who comes from the United States Military Academy. He had a great season with the Black Knights, hitting .390 on the year for Army with 7 home runs and 38 RBIs. He was first-team All-Patriot League this season. And he was on an Army team that has won the Patriot League 4 straight seasons. Army fell in the Hattiesburg Regional against Southern Miss this past May. Moore's first pitch to Ruda, fouled to the right side. Nice catch by Jerron Watts-Brown, starting pitcher for the Dores over there in the first base dugout. But Ruda is a rising junior at the United States Military Academy in West Point, New York. So that's code for cow if you're on post up in New York. Moore is a control pitcher, and he's showing it right here. A 71-mile-an-hour pitch. It's now 0-2 on Ruda.
Well, Ruda was first-team All-Patriot League. He led Army in extra base hits and slugging, but I think most importantly, Trey, he beat Navy 4 of 5 times.
That's a fact. Go Army, beat Navy. That's the main goal if you're a student athlete at Army.
Army kind of had the midshipman's numbers this season. 4 of 5 will do it.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. Moore gets it done. That's a matchup that we saw a couple of times between Lafayette and Army, 2 Patriot League foes last season. Moore, the former Lafayette Leopard, gets this one. There's one gone here in the 7th.
And the work we've seen from Moore has been very solid since he came back to the Commodores for stint number 2. Now, this is a guy we saw pitch opening day, and he was one of the early season roster casualties, but since coming back, he's pitched 6 1/3 innings of 2-run ball.
Strike 1 delivered to Caleb Ketchup, and I got to say, Ketchup hasn't been on the Cape for long, about 2.5 weeks, but he is one of the best gloves that I've seen on Cape Cod this season, and he showed it in the previous top half. It's now 1-1 on Ketchup, who is 0 for 2 today with the walk. I mean, there was a jam shot by Mooney, hit to the left side. Ketchup scooped it, immediately threw it to first, and Mooney was retired immediately in the bottom of the 6th inning. I mean, Alex didn't even get halfway down that base pass. Ketchup was doing it so fast and so smooth as well. I love it. I love watching him play defensively.
Well, we were sent that survey that was given to all the broadcast teams in this league to give superlatives to players this summer.
Ketchup lays off. It's 2-2. Finish that thought. I like where you're going here.
We got on this discussion, you and I did, with who were the best defenders over at third base and who had the best infield arm. And you actually brought up Ketchup, a guy who I hadn't seen play all that much.
Hits it over to third base where he is defensively. McKenzie collects, fires, got him. 2 gone.
I can't say one way or another whether Ketchup was our pick. We're trying to keep it confidential, but he has really showed out today. I mean, he's got an arm that's up there with the best we've seen this summer.
I mean, it just goes back to the point. He is so fun to watch. I got to check to see what exactly we had, but Ketchup was definitely in the running. So now here's Ryan Galaney, the Wofford Terrier, who hit .329 this season with 17 home runs. He starts behind 0-1 in his second at-bat. His first at-bat was a single on an 0-1 count in the 5th. Galaney came in for C.J. Capus. He's now playing at first base, but he was at third base this season for Wofford in every single game that the Terriers played. It's now 0-2. How about that? You know, you want to talk about being a marketable player, coming from a small school in the Southern Conference? How about play both sides of the corners? Experience at third and playing first base tonight. He sends this one out to center field. Pinckney shading towards his left, makes the grab and closes out the top of the 7th. The Commodores are stretching and heading into the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing by a score of 6-1. Find out what that man can do at the plate when we come back.
Special edition of God Bless America, because singing God Bless America tonight is our very own Falmouth Commodores broadcasting play-by-play intern, Logan Soforenko. Logan is from Thousand Oaks, California, and a rising junior at California Lutheran University, where he is majoring in both communications and theater. He has a deep love and appreciation for theater. In 2020, Logan had a podcast in which he combined theater and sports broadcasting, where he interviewed 8 professional broadcasters and 41 broadcasters, actors, and actresses. Please rise and remove your caps for this performance of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Oh, yeah!
Well, after an electric God Bless America from one of our very own Logan Soforenko, we are ready for the bottom of the 7th inning. With Carter Bainbridge, I'm Trey Redfield. The Commodores are trailing by 5 to the Kettleers. And coming up to the plate is Andrew Pinckney, but I have to get my mind off this, so I'm going to say it now. That was perfection from Logan, and we were waiting to see that. I think he delivered.
I think he did an outstanding job.
That was awesome. I loved it. I loved it. Logan, when you go back and watch this game, props to you, my friend. You rock. First pitch to Andrew Pinckney, too high, ball 1. Logan has that luxury because we're on YouTube. You can go back and watch all of our videos here on our YouTube channel at Falmouth Commodores. Be sure to like us and subscribe us as Pinckney swings and misses at strike 1. So Pinckney at the plate. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Went down looking on a 3-2 count last time he was up in the 4th inning. Pinckney checks swings, and it fouls off the screen. It's 1-2. Cam Schulke is on for his 2nd inning of work, and he sat down the Commodores' top 3 hitters in the lineup in order. 1, 2, 3. Mooney grounded out to 3rd. Halter popped out to 2nd. And Borfin grounded out to 2nd. This one a little too low. The count is even at 2, coming in at 68 miles an hour.
Well, the last 3 pitches he's thrown Pinckney have been 68, 67, and 68, and Pinckney was late on 2 of them. Only from a submariner you're going to see that.
Foul tipped off the mask of the catcher, Harris. That was coming right for the open window right at me. I would have easily made the catch. But there's a screen in front of me. So tough break. Tough break. Win some, lose some, right?
Your athletic pursuits are just so unfortunately limited by all the safety precautions we have here.
I am an athletic guy. Pinckney swings and misses at strike 3. That one coming in at 69 miles an hour. Nice pitch. One gone.
Well, Schulke never gave Pinckney anything hard to hit in that at-bat, which I think is a little bit surprising. I kept waiting for Schulke to come in on the hands with something in the low to mid-80s, but he just stayed with the soft stuff. And Pinckney, best he could do in that at-bat was foul it off. You hear that phrase sometimes, below hitting speed. Stuff so slow that it's almost harder to hit. Well, this is that, for sure.
Strike one on Drew Brutcher. He's also 0 for 2 today. Popped out the short in the second, flew out to left field in the fourth. Bouncer to the left side, foul. It's now 0-2. Brutcher comes from Lakeland, Florida, where he was coached by his dad in high school. He was drafted in the second round of the MLB draft back in 1989 by the Chicago White Sox. So talk about a baseball family. Brutcher staying close to home too. From Lakeland down to Tampa at South Florida, where he plays his college ball. It's a chopper over to the right side. Harlan picks it up, throws on the run, and that one gets away from Galaney. And that one stayed in play. Brutcher is tagged out. Heads up play by Calvin Harris coming over to back up the throw. That was smooth.
It's a play that you may see maybe once per season if you follow a baseball team. Just bad luck there for Brutcher. What was originally an E4 on Trotter Harlan becomes a 2-3 putout from Calvin Harris, who alertly, like you said, was backing up that play. And part of defense is fielding the ball cleanly. The other part is being where you're supposed to be, backing up on any given ball in play.
Ball one delivered to Patrick Roach. And speaking of errors, that's how he got up on base last time up in the bottom of the fifth inning. Roach comes out of Boston College. Last night for the Commodores, got hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance for Falmouth. It's now 2-0 on Patrick, but back to Drew's putout. Do you think it also didn't help him from turning to the left on the baseline instead of going right out of play?
I think that certainly was a part of it. Maybe wasn't enough for the umpire to explicitly say it, but once you do make that turn, if you don't run straight through the bag, it is fair game.
That's why I always tell you to turn right instead of turn left on a play like that, right?
Yep.
Fundamentals, my friend. Oh, my goodness. Another one, 68 miles an hour.
You know, he keeps hitting 68 over and over and over.
I mean,
it might be slower than that. We may just have a radar gun that doesn't go any lower than that.
I'd believe it. Goes to it again. Same speed, 68 miles an hour. Harlan's called off by Park, who comes in to make the grab, and he can head on into the Cotuit dugout with a 6-1 lead still through 7. We go to the top of the 8th with Troy, Harris, and Trice due up.
House of Falmouth Commodore, be sure to sign up to become a host family today. Hosting a Cape League player can be very rewarding. Players connect and bond with the families, often forming lifelong relationships. Please remember that every Commodores player is bound and governed by NCAA rules and regulations. In order to maintain their collegiate athletic ability, host families receive a weekly allowance from the Falmouth Commodores to help cover player expenses. Host families are not required to provide transportation to players. The Falmouth Commodores are very grateful to the wonderful families that host our players each and every year. If you are interested in hosting a Falmouth Commodores player for the summer, contact our housing coordinator, Lisa Smuda, at lisatz143@comcast.net. For more information, visit our website at falmouthcommodores.com. Thank you for supporting our players, and roll Dores.
Another new pitcher for the Commodores, and this time it's Josh Stewart, right-handed pitcher out of Texas A&M. That's where he's going to be heading this season. But Carter, for the first time this season, my scorebook has been filled out in the pitchers category. I mean, we expected this. It was supposed to be a full staff night where everyone had to be hands on deck from the bullpen. So this is expected, and Stewart is one of the premier arms from the Falmouth bullpen.
Yeah, this is the 7th pitcher the Dores have used so far tonight. Roberge, Corbett, Malone, Giannoni, Coe, Moore, and now Josh Stewart. The right-hander on the mound who has kind of been the unheralded member of what was once a pretty strong three-headed bullpen monster for this team. Joey Ryan and Levi Wells were the all-stars, but this guy is probably the most underrated pitcher on the team. Very well could have been an all-star nod if space had opened up for him, with a .58 ERA in his first 10 games entering tonight. 2 saves to his credit, so he's been in there in the late innings. 15 1/3 innings, only 8 hits and 3 walks allowed. If you're looking at why Stewart's been good this season, it's that he just doesn't allow a lot of base runners and has struck out 20 across those first 15 1/3 innings.
Not too bad of a stat line for Josh. He resides in Georgetown, Texas. He's going to be facing the heart of the Cotuit order. Troy, Harris, and Trice. Kettleers in front of the Commodores by a score of 6-1. It's the regular season finale, and these two could be facing each other on Thursday. Just comes down to how the 1 seed is decided between Hyannis, Cotuit, and Bourne. 3 teams separated by just 1 point. And Cotuit and Bourne play tomorrow at Lowell Park, having to make up yesterday's game that got postponed. Madness in the Western Division. The wild, wild West, my friend.
Well, there's a lot to still be decided in that East as well.
Yeah, Brewster and YD tied. As Troy swords at that one, it's 1-2.
A lot to be decided tomorrow all around the Cape League. So if this is the way you wanted to draw it up with a lot of drama late in the season, you've certainly gotten it.
1-2 from Stewart. Rope down the left field line, foul. Do the 1-2 again. And that's the power that Troy brings. When he puts bat to ball, he's going to lace it. He's still looking for his first hit tonight, but coming into tonight, he had a .333 batting average with 5 home runs. Both of those third on Cape Cod.
He's a projected first-round pick in next year's draft for a reason. He's got all the tools, and they're rated pretty highly.
Another one to the left side, this one on the ground. McKenzie collects, fires, and retires Troy. It was a close one, bang-bang play over at first base, but it's a 5-3 putout delivered by Anthony McKenzie. There's one gone here in the 8th.
Definitely awfully close there for Troy at first base, but it was only that close because McKenzie, I think, couldn't get the ball out of his glove initially. He started to grab it and then looked down at his hand before making the throw. But in any event, that result certainly better than a misplay if he had tried to rush it.
First pitch to Harris is sent out to left center field. Pinckney going all the way back to the wall and making the grab. Andrew Pinckney, the gazelle out there in center field, shoes off the goose and makes the grab. Falmouth is now down to 9 fielders on the night because the goose is gone.
That's right. Maybe the first thing that's gotten him to move today. We saw him, that goose out there stationary in center all day. Maybe not just the movement of Pinckney, but the sound off the bat by Harris, who really squared that pitch up. But a very loud second out off the bat of the Cotuit catcher has put Stewart in a good spot here in the 8th.
He's only thrown 5 pitches. 6-1 to Carter Trice, his strike 1. Trice has himself a single and an RBI walk tonight. He's 1 for 3. Stewart gets his sign from the Ryan Deals. Strike 2. Stewart's cousin, Cole Stewart, went 4th overall to the Baltimore Orioles a couple of years back, where he still is today. The Orioles, a surprising team out of the American League East, arguably the best division in Major League Baseball. The 0-2, outside, 1-2 now. But if these two play on Thursday, Carter, in Game 1 of the first round of the CCBL playoffs, that off day is super important for the Commodores because the Kettleers don't have one of those making up a game against the Braves tomorrow.
Well, right you are. The Doors can get fresh in time and they can wash this game away. Basically just spend the off day getting ready to get off to a better start in that potential Game 1 than they did today with that 4-run Kettleer first inning.
2-2 now on Trice, who is choked up on that bat a mile high. That's the 2-strike approach, but Trice is choked up really high on that bat. I mean, you can see it right here on your screen. 2-2 from Stewart. In the dirt, blocked by Neride. The count is full.
Well, these Ketts have been taking good ABs all day long. Trice today 1 for 3 with a walk. I mean, these innings for the Kettleers when they've been hitting have been so long that scorebook looks like a maze. Some kind of puzzle book. Not very symmetrical with a lot of long frames.
Fly ball in the left center field. Pinckney going back to a spot where he made the previous catch. Does the same here to close out the top of the 8th inning. Walsh, Neary, and McKenzie due up when we come back. Commodores trailing by 5.
And can you draw your college logo? Nice.
There we go.
I can
That's
see
actually
it.
good. That's
I can
actually
see
really
it.
good.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
I love how flames go.
But I can try to give you a frog. Looks more like a pig than a frog. That's no frog. That's
wrong.
bad. That's
Oh
more
my
like a. That's bad.
I know it's got like a weird. This.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No. I can't draw the basic one. You know. Okay. Do not judge me, please. Very stressed. Okay. Ready?
Yep. Yeah.
We gotta erase puddles right there.
There's puddles.
That looks like a turkey.
That's actually really good. That's really good.
Kettleers 6, Commodores 1, going into the bottom of the 8th inning here at Guv Fuller Field with Carter Bainbridge. I'm Trey, Redfield. Carter, Camp Schulke is about to begin his 3rd inning of work, and if he sits down Walsh, Neary, and McKenzie, 1, 2, 3, then he will have gone through the entire batting lineup in order. That's an impressive feat.
Now, Schulke's been effective this summer. You don't put up a .93 ERA in 10 games if you're not, but he has just been dominating these Dores hitters so far with a pitch mix that's gone slow, slower, slowest. Hasn't really been dealing in the 80s, pretty much the high 60s.
Goes 79 miles an hour there to Jacob Walsh. It's ball 1. Walsh has himself a single today, and it came off a left-handed pitcher. He's now 4 for 42 against lefties, but now he's facing a righty where he's had more success. He's now ahead 2-0.
Walsh hasn't faced a lot of righties like this, though. 194 opponent average against Schulke this summer. That number's only gone down with the Dores 0 for their first 6 against him.
Kettleers coming into tonight had a 215 opposing batting average as Walsh swings and then some at that pitch. It's now 2-1, but an opposing batting average of 215 for Cotuit. That's tied for the least on Cape Cod alongside the Chatham Anglers. Walsh gets a piece of this one on the 2-1. A bouncer picked up by Troy on the hop. Throws the first, not in time. Infield leadoff base hit for Jacob Walsh, his 2nd single tonight.
Now, that would have been a pretty unbelievable play by Troy if A, he could have come down with that ball, and then B, made the throw onto first for the out. Just a bit too much to ask of him on that play with such a tricky hop off the infield dirt. But still, fine play to haul that one down, and you see why Troy is such a highly rated defensive player as well.
So here's Danny Neary looking for his first hit tonight, despite getting a 4-3 RBI ground out in the 5th. Oh my goodness, there it is again. And once again at 68 miles an hour. He keeps touching it right there. But you could be right. That's probably the lowest it goes. Who knows? Who knows? But it's a filthy one either way from Schulke. This one doinks off the helmet of Neary. That one getting away from Schulke. There's now 2 on with no one gone. Now brings up Anthony McKenzie.
Neary's got to be grateful that he does throw in the high 60s. Really avoided a scarier play on that one. Of course, you never want to see anybody get hit in the head, but Neary immediately popped to his feet. Just got a scare and is now at first base. We've seen Cotuit like their submarine pitching this season. Remember Jackson Kelly?
Oh, my goodness.
He had a very good outing in this park. 2nd game of the season, went 4 shutout innings against the Dores. Now Schulke doing more good work for manager Mike Roberts.
First pitch to Anthony McKenzie, a grounder to the left side. Ketchup picks it up, throws to second for 1, over to first for 2. In time, they got him. Great read by Ketchup off the bat of McKenzie. It's a 5-4-3 double play, advancing Walsh over to third base. There's 2 gone quickly here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
We've seen Caleb Ketchup make some very hard, strong throws from third base tonight, but you can see what a good defender he is on that play by the touch he put on that throw. Didn't rifle it into second base, didn't let it get away from Harlan. He gave it just enough on it to get it there, but not too hard to glove for the Cotuit second baseman. Fed it to him right in a spot where he could get it on to first in time. And 5 to 4 to 3 is not an easy double play to turn. But these Kettleers just made it look awfully easy, and a lot of that work just came from Ketchup over there at third base.
Helps when you have a platinum glove over there. Ketchup has been showing it ever since he came here in mid-July for the Kettleers. Count is even at 1 on Mooney. Jacob Walsh, the only man on for Falmouth, 90 feet away from being the Dores' second run tonight. Swing and a miss on that one. 69 miles an hour off the right hand of Schulke. It's now 1-2.
A lot of what you rely on with a submariner is the fact that hitters probably have not seen guys like this before. At least they don't see them very often. And for Alex Mooney to take a swing like that, that's one of the few times we've seen him get beaten by like that on any pitch.
Mooney pops this one up. Middle of the infield. Schulke calling everyone off. In fact, it's actually Ketchup who makes the grab. That closes out the 8th inning. The Commodores with no dice. We head to the top of the 9th inning where Falmouth trails by 5.
What are you most looking forward to this season?
Most looking forward to working with all the interns. It's a really good group, and just a couple of days in, we've already started to bond over different things. The Celtics, hanging out with one another, and even the Red Sox as well. There's just so many different things that make this intern group seem like a really good one.
Not just being around players that are our age, but being around a bunch of other people that are looking to get something great out of the Commodores. But the favorite part about being like the intern specifically is the ability to like have some creative freedom, because we're not under salary or anything like that. We're here to have fun but also get work done. There's the perfect level of or balance of work and fun, but we don't get carried away with it. And I think that's the perfect part about being an intern. And the best part about being an intern, especially at the Commodores, is you get to watch baseball for us broadcasters 6 days a week.
Well, if you've had enough with submarine pitching, sorry, because here's another submarine pitcher for you. The third one tonight, it's A.J. Causey, the Jacksonville State Gamecock. Carter, this is the 8th pitcher that Falmouth has put on the mound tonight. We've seen nothing like this season, so it's only fitting that the Dores are doing it right now in game 44 out of 44.
And the strategy you figure is twofold. Number one, you don't want to have any guy go too long in this game and possibly exhaust himself right before the playoffs. But the other thing is that you want to get your guys some work. So every single pitcher since Josh Roberge had a 2-inning start in this game has gone only 1 inning. Caleb Corbett, Luke Malone, Leo Giannanoni, Garrett Coe, Nolan Moore, Josh Stewart, and now A.J. Causey. The longest he can go is 1 inning. But as you said, another submariner. Causey so far 3 games, 3 innings, 3 strikeouts, 3 hits, no runs allowed.
Here's Eddie Park, who's had 3 infield singles today. Shoots it foul to the left side. Not by much, about 3 or 4 feet to the left of the third base line. So Park is down 0-1 to start off his 5th plate appearance. And an infield single in the 1st, another one in the 4th, and another in the 6th. Nasty slider from Causey at 71 miles an hour on that pitch. It's quickly 0-2 on Park. Causey, a guy that likes to work fast. Already has his sign and deals. Go more of a sidearm delivery this time. Sometimes you see that from submarine pitchers. Like to mix it up and shake batters a little bit, but that one not working in Causey's favor.
Schulke did that earlier in this game to Andrew Pinckney. Threw ball 1 in the first pitch of an at-bat.
That's probably had the most horizontal movement that we've seen from Causey so far. Not a big sample size, only 4 pitches in, but that's something a submarine pitcher brings to the table. In the left center field, Borfin makes the grab. That one looks good off the bat, but Borfin with a great read in a spot that he's been in all season ever since he's gotten to Falmouth in early July. There's one away here in the top of the ninth.
Well, it's the first time Park's been retired today. 3 for 3 with a walk. No more. First out here in the ninth inning. Causey, as you said, has that fastball that has ticked up to 90 miles an hour at some points, apparently, living mostly in the high 80s, and then that slider, that one, that we saw a couple times to Eddie Park as well.
That was smooth. Not a boy. 72 miles an hour. It's 0-1 on Trotter Harlan, who has himself a couple of RBIs today. Oh, that was filthy. My goodness. Holy cow.
Just 2 unhittable pitches. Nothing that Harlan can do with either one of those.
Think Causey goes with the same pitch here?
I do.
You do?
Feel pretty confident. I mean, you've gotten 2 pretty outstanding strikes on it. Why not?
Goes with the fastball, 87 miles an hour. Either way, it's strike 3, so we'll take it, right?
Not Trey, I can do a lot of things, but I'm no pitcher. You see, for example, can't exactly get in the mind of a guy, but when you start him out with 2 breaking balls, you can then come up and in with the fastball. That's the other train of thought there with 2 strikes. So either go to the well or give him something hard to deal with up and in, and Harlan could not do it. And now you got the last interesting matchup of the day, and this guy always a fun at bat to watch.
Enrique Bradfield, perfect on the base pass this season at Vanderbilt in 46 attempts. If Causey can retire Bradfield here, the past 3 relievers, and Nolan Moore, Josh Stewart, and A.J. Causey, who's on the mound right now, will retire the Commodores in order. And there's an announcer jinx. That one clipping Bradfield on the jersey. So he's awarded first base on the hit by pitch. And it now brings up Sam Ruda.
Well, you figure if this was a game against maybe Ole Miss on a May afternoon, you may as well just give Bradfield third base right now. Because he just simply does not get thrown out on the bases.
So here's Sam Ruda, an Army Black Knight who went down swinging on a 1-2 count last time up. First pitch, Bradfield goes. Nerai throws down the second, not in time. It bounces off Bradfield. Hopefully he's all right. That's the second time he's gotten hit by a ball in 2 pitches. He seems to be okay over there at second base. Another stolen base for Enrique. Him. He's having a great time.
Such a
and how
big
could you
grin on
not?
his face.
I mean, does it day in and day out. It's amazing how good he is on the base pass. You can have speed, but you also got to be smart too. And Bradfield is certainly that. 1-0 from Causey. Line drive foul to the left side, bouncing off the right of the Cotuit dugout. It's 1-1. So in our eyes, Ruda is a rising junior at West Point, but at the United States Military Academy, he is considered a cow. If you're a freshman, you're a plebe. If you're a sophomore, you're a yearling, excuse me. If you're a junior, you're a cow like Ruda. And if you're a senior, you're a firstie.
So if you're in your last year, they call you a firstie, you said?
A firstie, yep.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
And then after that, graduate, get commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. 5 of my family members did that. Go Army, beat Navy, my friend. 2-2 now.
I almost wish I knew the story behind some of those names, but I guess that can wait for another time.
And normally going into your cow year at West Point, it's always a question what you're doing. You could be a cadet field training instructor. You could also be in the summer leadership experience. A lot of options. But Ruda goes down swinging for the second time tonight. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Falmouth with work to do, trailing by 5, but Halter, Borfin, and Pinckney are due up. Don't go anywhere. This one is still in Falmouth's reach.
Looking forward to the most with the Commodores is just the chance to work with some really talented people, whether that be on the broadcast team or any other interns. I'm a part of the broadcast team, so I get to work with Trey and Logan.
And I think that both of them are just super talented. I'm really happy I get to work with both of them because I feel like I'll learn as much from them as they will from me. And I'm just really excited to be able to improve my craft with two guys who are focused on the exact same thing.
My favorite part about being a Commodore intern is that I get to work on not only my videography skills, but also meet and work with other people that are really dedicated to this field of work.
I think just having the opportunity to work with a lot of people that are interested in the sports media business, especially when it comes to baseball, this is the premier league for collegiate players, and I think that getting the opportunity to work with a lot of people from across the country to have this one bond and the love is for baseball and helping these players develop, I think it's going to be something really cool and it's going to be an amazing experience.
We are into the bottom of the 9th inning here at Guv Fuller Field. The Commodores trailing the Kettleers by a score of 6-1. Carter, it's Ryan Bruno on the mound looking to keep it a 6-1 score, and he had a great season at Stanford this year, didn't he?
Yeah, Bruno in his sophomore spring at Stanford pitched in 30 games, which is definitely a high number. You see guys, a lot of the times that they're a primary guy out of the bullpen, pitch between 20 and 30, but Bruno hit that 3-0 mark and had a 2.72 ERA in 39 and 2/3 innings with the Cardinal. 20 hits, 12 earned runs, 35 walks, but 71 strikeouts. And just about 40 innings certainly catches your eye. And Bruno does it with a low to mid-90s fastball and a changeup that has been rated very, very highly as one of his out pitches. One of the best changeups that you'll see on the Cape.
Helped him earn a spot on the U.S. Collegiate National Team. Spent some time in Cary, North Carolina. Played for the Collegiate National Team in the Netherlands. Now is back here after his time overseas and over in the old North State. Like I mentioned, Falmouth has some work to do. Trailing by 5, Colby Halter will lead things off. Jace Borfin and Andrew Pinckney will follow. Jace on deck, Andrew in the hole.
And for Bruno this summer, getting his numbers lately with the Kettleers, this will be his 4th appearance. In his previous 3, he has not yielded an earned run. 2 innings, 4 strikeouts, 2 hits, no walks, 2 saves. So Bruno has been coming in late in games, and he has not been allowing much.
So here's Colby. 1 for 3 tonight with a single. The Commodores can come back. They'll finish the season at 20, 20, and 4. Well, a lot has to be done here in this bottom half. First pitch from Bruno, strike 1. How about Cam Schulke? 3 innings pitched, giving up no hits, 1 hit, off of Jacob Walsh in an infield single, but shutout ball. That's exactly what Cotuit needs going into tomorrow in a must-win game for the Kettleers. I mean, that's first place on the line right there. If the result in Hyannis and Bourne hold up, the Braves in front of the Harbor Hawks right now. It's going to be really interesting tomorrow, isn't it?
Now, that's for sure. A lot of teams could go in a lot of different directions depending on what happens tomorrow. But just back to your point about Schulke, it just seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same. It seems like just yesterday we watched Jackson Kelly pitch 4 scoreless in this building early season.
1 and 2 now on Halter.
The other famed Cotuit Submariner, who was magnificent in his limited time here before he was drafted by the Texas Rangers. But now they've got another Submariner weapon in that bullpen, and a guy the Dores certainly don't want to come up against in the playoffs. 3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout.
Did Halter go around? He did. Strike 3. Halter finishes the evening at 1 for 4 on the night. There's 1 gone here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Now batting, the left fielder from Arkansas, number 9, Jace Borfin.
So here's Jace Borfin. Has himself a single today. That came in the 4th inning. He is 1 for 3. First pitch sails high, ball one. Tipping off the glove, the top of the glove that is, and Calvin Harris. So even though Halter goes down swinging in his last at-bat of the regular season, if the score remains 2-0 in Harwich, then Halter will be the home run champion on Cape Cod in 2022. Whitman with the ripper to right field, down for a base hit. Good piece of hitting there from Jace, his second single tonight. And it now brings up Andrew Pinckney, who's in search of his first hit.
And one of the reasons you like watching Borfin is that it doesn't seem to matter who he comes up against. Righty, lefty, doesn't matter the situation. He's going to get his rips in, and more often than not lately, they've resulted in base hits.
So Pinckney with an opportunity to make this thing interesting. He's struck out last 2 times he's come up to the plate. What can he do here? Swing and a miss, strike one to start off his 4th at-bat. Pinckney has made a couple of stout plays in center field. Using his speed, Jace Borfin potentially looking to do the same here if he wants to steal second base. Bruno steps off. Borfin stays in his lead, though. Bruno checks on Borfin at first and fires. Pinckney went around. He did. 0-2 now. Props to Harris for catching a good game, too. He's been keeping the balls in front of him each and every time they've been in the dirt against whether Whitman, Chappell, Schulke, or Bruno. Harris is getting it done behind the plate, and props to him for that.
Of all the teams on the Cape, Cotuit might have had the best catching talent, at least translated over from college this summer, with a couple different guys they've had.
1-2 now on Pinckney. I mean, the one that we did not see tonight is Caleb Lomavita, who was the starting catcher for the Western Division All-Stars on July 23rd.
Well, a rare day off for him, and you forget early in the season they had Justin Mickness.
And he started in the first road game between these two.
Really good defensive catcher.
Pinckney goes after the 1-2, in and out of the glove. But no need to throw over to first because it's already occupied. Pinckney goes down swinging the second time he's done that tonight. And Falmouth is down to its final out in the regular season. It's going to be a pinch hitter. Tafton Hensley coming in for Drew Brutcher. So despite the Commodores more likely than not finishing the year at 19, 21, and 4, they are still in the postseason. Falmouth will be the 4 seed. Its first matchup will be game 1 in the first round on Thursday. The opponent is to be determined. 1-0 on Hensley. And the reason why that is because Hyannis, Bourne, and Cotuit are separated by 1 point. Hensley is heading to Oregon next season. He had 18 home runs at the College of the Canyons last year. Count is now even at 1. Right now, Bourne is in front of Hyannis 4-2. Here it's 6-1. So that means if these results hold the way they do, Cotuit and Bourne will be battling for first place in the West.
With Hyannis just a point behind.
Sitting in third. 1-2 now on Hensley. It's Borfin who's still on first base. So game 1 would be on the road for Falmouth. Game 2 would be right here at Guv Fuller Field on Friday. Game 3, if necessary, on the road on Saturday. The 1-2. Too high. Count even. Two and two, the count on Hensley. Borfin on first. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That's the ball game. That's the regular season. And the Commodores fall to the Kettleers by a score of 6-1. Falmouth still takes the season series over Cotuit with 3 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. But Carter, that's not what you want to do going into the postseason, losing by 5 runs to your biggest rival. These two could be seeing each other in a couple of days.
That's not the prettiest result eye test-wise, to bomb out of your regular season finale, like you said, by 5 runs to your biggest rival. But again, this was kind of an odd game today. You knew coming into it that both the Dores and Ketts were going to try to get guys on the field who maybe don't play all that much. In the lineup today, we saw Roach for Falmouth and a whole lot of pitchers out of that bullpen. Just seemed like a new one every single inning after the second. The Dores ended up using 8 arms out of their pen. And meanwhile, for Cotuit, they're playing for a lot more. Like you said, those division standings are creeping up on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks in first place. So for the Dores, I think what matters more than the result today is the day of rest tomorrow and the game that they are not playing tomorrow on a Wednesday evening. So for Falmouth, it's time to just forget about this one and get right for whoever it is they'll be playing in the first round of the Western Division playoffs.
It's going to be interesting. We're going to be doing a lot of scoreboard watching tomorrow, aren't we, with that Cotuit and Bourne game at Lowell Park. But the final score here at Guv Fuller Field is 6-1. Zach Chappell getting the win for Cotuit. Josh Roberge taking the loss. He falls to 0-4 on the season. But throughout the entire season, we've been putting on these broadcasts, and we cannot have done it without our entire crew throughout the season. Our video director, Sean Oldred, Brennan Capozzi, Carson Depp, Ellie Fideli, our videographers, Liv Charbonneau, running the graphics, Dan Fox, our public address announcer, Charlotte Mott, our social media coordinator, Megan Murphy, our photographer, Tommy Muma, our web reporter, and our supervisors, Ernie Hyde and David Cunha. They have been a pleasure to work with all season, and we get to work with them a little bit more because the Commodores have some postseason baseball to play and a bracket to run through. It all starts on Thursday. Game 1 on the road, we don't know who that is against. It could be either Hyannis, Cotuit, or Bourne. We'll keep you updated on our socials. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter @FoulCommodores. We will have those updates. But that's it from Guv Fuller Field. The Commodores fall by 5 for the final time in the regular season with Carter Bainbridge and our field reporter, Logan Soforenko. I'm Trey Redfield saying so long. We'll see you on Thursday on the Falmouth Commodores Radio Network.